Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM proudly presents Rowan University Softball. Prof Softball is made possible in part by
Barnes & Noble Bookstore, the Brown and Gold Gridiron Club, Inspira Health, Italian Affair Restaurant and Wine Bar, the Rowan University Alumni Association, and the Southwest Council.
And now, let's send it over to the Rowan University Softball Complex for Prof Softball.
Two of last year's 8 College World Series team meet up in 2024 for the 14th time in history in the 2024 Softball Super Regionals hosted in Glassboro for the second time ever. It's the number 13th ranked Rowan Profs taking on the number 3 ranked Christopher Newport Captains. With you today is myself, Jack Miller, as well as Sydney Chella to my left. And Sydney, it's been an historic road for both the Profs and the Captains. They both went undefeated in their regional tournaments, and these two face each other in the Super Regionals to get back to where they once were last year, the College World Series, which is again down in Marshall, Texas, on the campus of East Texas Baptist University. What are the Profs going to have to do in Game 1 of this 3-game set to get back to the grandest stage of them all?
You know, I think really what they're going to have to do is just focus on what got them here. You know, they obviously have great pitching. Riley Letts on the mound. She's had just a phenomenal season. And then when you look at their lineup, batting-wise, I mean, you have McCaffrey's had a great season, Kat Thomas. So everybody from, 1 to 9 is doing a great job here. So I would say just stick with what they've been doing and hope for the best. Hope they can get off to a strong start in this game.
Both teams are top 10 in the NCAA in team ERA. Rowan third with a 1.19 team ERA, and Christopher Newport ninth in the NCAA in D3 with a 1.57 ERA. And there are 10 total teams that went undefeated in their regional brackets, and 7 out of 8 of the College World Series teams last year, besides Moravian, who are still alive, and two of those 7 face each other right now. Only one will stand alone at the top of the Glassboro Super Regional and will punch their ticket to Texas again. In the circle for the Captains, as the Profs are technically on the road for the first game, even though it is in Glassboro, it is in the circle for the Captains is the leader in ERA and WHIP, left-handed junior Jamie Martin, who is looking for her 100th strikeout this season, as she has 99 so far. She picked up a complete game win against Rowan's NJAC rival of Ramapo on Saturday, and she looks to continue her dominance today on this hot and muggy Thursday afternoon. And up first for the Profs is their leader in batting average and on-base percentage, Liz McCaffrey, a recent lineup change that has really poured in runs, Sydney. It was first Mackenzie Melvin at the beginning of the season, then it went down to Zara McNair, and now both of them are in the bottom of the lineup, and now it's Liz McCaffrey followed by Tripodi and then Kat Thomas. Yeah, definitely something different that they tried very recently. I believe they started this certain lineup just in regionals, so it's been working for them so far. Zara McNair has been able to get a lot done and a lot going on for them, so yeah, it's been working so far. McCaffrey awaits to step into the right-handed batter's box. Jamie Martin getting ready to put her mask in the circle. It's McCaffrey, batting average of .411, on-base percentage of .522. Second team all-region, 2024 all-conference second team, as she went 1 for 2 with a double and 2 walks in the last regional game against MIT. They faced MIT twice, and they won both, 6-3, and then later 9-1 the day after. First pitch from the left-hander is just outside for ball 1 to Liz McCaffrey. 26 RBIs for Liz, the junior from Cranford, 53 hits. First in the NJAC and on-base percentage, 4th in OPS. Next pitch from Martin. It's fouled away by Liz McCaffrey over the netting, straight back. Evens the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Jamie Martin, her ERA 1.05 with 12 wins and 1 loss in 80 total innings pitched. .70 whip. Again, looking for her 100th strikeout. Gets back in the circle. She's set. Here's the pitch to McCaffrey. It's too high, and she almost thought about going around, but she holds back for ball 2, 2-1 count. Yeah, something really interesting about Martin is that she has 99 strikeouts in only 80 innings pitched. Pretty phenomenal for a pitcher in this division, and see what she could do against the Profs today. Both the Profs and the Christopher Newport Captains on a long winning streak, as next pitch is at the knees for strike 2. Even count again, this time at 2 balls and 2 strikes. But Profs, they're on a 13-game win streak. the Captains on an 18-game win streak. Both haven't lost since April. They haven't lost for the Captains since they played Roanoke, and for the Profs, it was back when they played TCNJ in the first game of the doubleheader back on April 16th. Next pitch is popped up, first base side in foul territory. It's playable, and the first baseman for the Captains of Brickner will make the catch for out number one. Let's go around for the defense for Christopher Newport Captains. Jamie Martin, obviously in the circle. Malia Maherty, she's behind the dish. First baseman Meredith Brickner. Over at second base is Carolyn Pollock. Kendall Bentley over at short. Brooke Griever over at third. And from left to right in the outfield, Jules Donnelly in left. Candace Law, the C2C Rookie of the Year. She's in center. And Katie Curran, she is in right. Here's Tripodi batting second in the right-hander's batter's box, looking to face Jamie Martin. Tripodi, first pitch, swings through it for strike one, as she has gotten on base in every postseason game so far. Went 1 for 3 against MIT. Not have an appearance in last year's Super Regional because it's her first year with the team, but she's batting .315 so far. Next pitch is a bunt squared down first base side, but it rolls foul. Over to the first base coach.
Definitely a little bit late on that bunt. Kind of showed really late and went down that right field line. Foul.
She went 1 for 3 on Saturday as well. Only had one at bat, and she converted 1 for 1 in the first game against Centenary. In the regionals, next pitch from Martin. Fouled away. Stays alive, still an 0-2 count for Tripodi. 8 RBIs for Tripodi, but the bases are empty. She might have an opportunity if she can put one over the wall, but she only has one so far this year. 17 hits and a .377 on-base percentage. Martin, next pitch, is fouled away again by Tripodi, and she's staying alive.
Yeah, it looks like Tripodi's a little bit behind the ball. It's going straight back.
Rowan all-time has the 10th most tournament wins with 77 in D3 history. Here is the next pitch from Martin, and it's fouled off the glove of Maherty, and Tripodi is still staying alive in an 0-2 count. She's displaying that she can keep that bat on the ball no matter where it is in the strike zone, even if it's outside or outside the zone.
Yeah, absolutely. She's definitely battling. Anything that's kind of close to her, she's swinging at. Really important to try to get on base here and start the Profs off with some runs early.
They're top 25 in the NCAA in scoring, averaging around 6.7 runs per game. That one fouled straight back again. Still remains an 0-2 count with one out, nobody on in this top of the first. Glassboro Super Regionals between the Captains and the Profs. Not a lot of history, 14th appearance between these two. Have lost their last 4 games to the Christopher Newport Captains, the Profs have. Last played in February of 2022, and the Captains won the national title in 2022 after only having one loss that season. And Tripodi swings at an off-speed in the dirt. Throw down to first is in time for out number 2.
Yeah, that really, to me, just looked like nerves. You know, she kind of swung at something that was clearly a ball, kind of bounced before it even got to the plate. So hopefully she can kind of calm down, relax for her next at-bat, and hopefully Kat Thomas can pick up the slack here.
That's her 100th strikeout on the year for Jamie Martin, or the junior out of Lorton, Virginia, South County High School. She was a district and region player of the year in her senior year. Went 41-8. That one is too low for Kat Thomas, the first baseman for the Profs. Finishing out the rest of the lineup, it's Peyton McNair batting 4th. Caitlin Riggs, she's behind the dish. She is batting 5th. And Pulowski, she's batting 6th. She's in left. Bree Bryant batting 7th. She's at 3rd base. Melvin and McNair are 8 and 9 in center and in right. Kat Thomas drills one up the middle, over to short to Kendall Bentley. The throw to first is in time. Martin goes down 1-2-3 to start the game. And the Captains will have their first ABs when we return here on Rowan Radio 89.7 at WGLS FM.
WGLS FM programming is made possible in part by the GRASP Coalition, an initiative of the Southwest Council. The GRASP Coalition is dedicated to preventing the abuse of addictive substances through strategic community partnerships. The GRASP Coalition is currently looking for passionate collaborators to join their prevention efforts. Visit their website calendar to discover when you can join the next Community Coalition meeting. For more information on the GRASP Coalition or the Southwest Council, the website is southwestcouncil.org/our-coalitions. The GRASP Coalition and the Southwest Council are proud to support the programming on Rowan Radio.
Hey, this is Gary Daidolo, your host of the Icon Rock Show, Saturdays at 5 p.m. on Rowan Radio. And now let's get back to the game.
Profs go down 1-2-3 against Jamie Martin, the second team All-Region Christopher Newport captain in the Glassboro Super Regionals between the Profs and the Christopher Newport captains. My name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Chellam. Bottom of the first, still scoreless. And it's Riley Lutz in the circle, who was the regional most valuable player. And she started every game in the regional, and she only gave up 10 total hits and only 3 earned runs through those 3 games. And she hasn't lost since Rowan's last loss back on April 16th against TCNJ on April 16th. And she doesn't look to do that today in Game 1 of the 2024 Softball Super Regional, Sydney.
Yeah, Lutz has had a really phenomenal season so far, but she's facing a really stacked lineup for Christopher Newport, so we'll see what she can do here.
Leader on this team in strikeouts. Emily McCutcheon leads in everything else, category-wise. And up first is C2C Rookie of the Year Candace Slaw, the freshman from Warsaw, Virginia. Leads the team in batting average, on base percentage, hits, and stolen bases. All-around threat for the captains, fouls it away. And the second pitch evens the count, 1 ball, 1 strike, as she faces Riley Lutz for the first time in her college career.
Yeah, Slaw's had an absolutely amazing year. I mean, definitely the biggest threat, like you said, in the lineup. For Christopher Newport, the 478 average, it just kind of blows out everything else that Christopher Newport has this season.
First team All-Region as well. As she grounds one third base side over to Bree Bryant. Bree Bryant throw to first is not in time. Candace Slaw displaying the speed as she gets an infield single for the captains. Hit number 65 on the year. Immediate threat already.
Yeah, absolutely amazing speed by Slaw. I mean, Bryant is a really good third baseman, and she got to that ball as fast as she could, so really shows off Slaw's speed running down the first baseline.
Up next is Delaney Knuckles, the designated player. She awaits her sign from third base coach and head coach Keith Parr in his 21st season as a coach, looking for his 700th Christopher Newport coaching win. As a bunt is dropped down, but it's foul behind the dish. So 0-1 count immediately for Knuckles, who played 5 years as the leadoff batter at shortstop with the Randolph Wildcats before coming over to Christopher Newport. Technically her 6th season playing college softball.
Interesting. Definitely is going to have a lot of experience in these high-pressure games.
Went 3 for 4 in their last game in the regionals, and the bunts pulled back, and they look at Slaw over at first, but no throw. But she held back, so it's 2-1 count for Knuckles. So far this year, she's batting .340, only 1 home run, 21 RBIs, 34 hits. She tied her collegiate high of 3 hits and 3 RBIs in the final regional game last Sunday, as another bunch dropped down over to Riley Lutz. McCaffrey covering as she gets the throw in time. Throw to second is not in time.
Yeah.
So there is a runner in scoring position with Slaw, with Brooke Griever stepping in, who is one of the monster bats that Christopher Newport has and have had for the past few seasons to help them with their 2022 national championship run. Left-handed batter of Griever steps in. Lutz waiting patiently for the sign. She delivers, and it's just outside for ball 1. Lutz being very patient with these batters. You really see her be aggressive with the strike zone, but she's throwing a lot of first pitch balls to the top of the order of Slaw, Knuckles, and now Griever. Slaw over at second base in the bottom of the first, still scoreless. The Glassboro Super Regionals next pitch. Just outside for ball 2. So 2-0 count, hitters count for Brooke Griever, who is actually named after the star Orioles third baseman Brooke Robinson, who played back in the 70s for Baltimore. One of the all-time greats in Baltimore history. Next pitch is drilled into right center field. Under it is Melvin calling off Sarah McNair, and she throws it in after making the catch over to third, but it's cut off by Peyton McNair, and Slaw is 60 feet away from scoring with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Got the cleanup batter up next, Kate Curran.
Yeah, a really good way to get that runner over. Like we talked about, Slaw's speed is just, even in the first inning, showed to be a really big threat to the Profs, and really good way to move that runner and get Slaw into scoring position.
4 home runs and 32 RBIs. That leads the captains this season. .330 batting average. And she swings through for strike 1. Curran, a senior. She was the most outstanding player of the Super Regionals last year. That one's outside. She's trying to do the same thing, make a huge impact. She had only 1 at-bat, but hit a game-changing 3-run home run to take a 6-3 lead in the Super Regionals. And all because of that, she won most outstanding player of the Super Regionals. Outside again, and it's ruled the ball. 2-1 count for Katie Curran.
Yeah, Curran's known to get on in any way that she can. She actually leads the teams in RBIs with 32 and also 20 walks.
All-conference second team, and she drills one into center. Melvin under it, and she makes the snag in center for out number 3. A base runner threats with an infield single from Candace Law, but after that, Lutz goes down 1-2-3 on 2, 3, and 4. So we'll be right back with the top of the second, where the Profs will be back up to bat. We'll see who can break this scoreless tie first when we return. Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM.
WGLS programming is made possible in part by Barnes & Noble, the official bookstore for Rowan University. Located at 201 Rowan Boulevard, Barnes & Noble is your #1 choice for Profs gear, as well as a wide assortment of gifts, accessories, and sportswear. The bookstore is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday from 10 to 6, and Sunday, 10 until 6 p.m. The Starbucks Cafe opens 8 a.m. Monday through Friday, and at 10 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. For more information, their website is rowanbookstore.bncollege.com. The Barnes & Noble Bookstore is proud to be a supporter of Rowan Radio, 89.7 WGLS FM.
I'm Allie Bruce from the Rowan Report. Tune in on Saturday mornings at 9:30 on Rowan Radio. And now, back to the game.
Back in Glassboro, 2024 Super Regionals, hosted in Glassboro. My name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Chella. 4, 5, and 6 due up after the process went down 1, 2, 3 in the top of the first. It's Peyton McNair, Caitlin Riggs, and Abby Pulowski due up in the top of the second. What have you seen so far in this scoreless ball game so far, Sydney, that you've liked from both sides? A lot of pitching.
Yeah, definitely pitching is definitely the biggest part of this game. I mean, to go down 1, 2, 3 with the Rowan lineup is kind of unheard of for them. You know, McCaffrey, Thomas, these are some really great bats, and to be able to shut them down is a really big thing for Christopher Newport, and same thing for the other team as well. So lots of good pitching out here today.
Jamie Martin still in the circle for the captains. McNair steps into the right-hander's batter's box as the new leader in RBIs with 44 and the leader in hits, looking for her 60th as she has 59. A little high and outside. We rule the ball for Peyton McNair, and she's just an absolute threat everywhere. 5-tool player for Peyton McNair, the senior out of Cinnaminson. All-regional tournament team after having 4 hits in 11 at-bats. 4 total RBIs. Outside for ball 2. Hitters count for Peyton McNair. Not a situation you want to be in against Peyton.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, she's proved to be one of the most valuable players on this Profs lineup. I mean, she had such a big part in the regional wins against MIT, and see if she could do the same against Martin.
Next pitch is popped up third base side. Running after it is both the shortstop of Bentley and the third base Griever, and it's out of play. So she found a pitch that she liked. She swung through it, but fouled it away. And it's a 2-1 count for McNair. She was actually the MVP of the Prof Super Regional and was a triple away from the cycle in Game 1 against Randolph-Macon. They had to go to 3 games for that one, but in Game 1, it was all her. 4 for 9, double, a home run, 2 runs, and 3 walks in all 3 games for Peyton McNair. And that one's in the dirt for ball 3. 3-1 count, back to a hitter's count in favor for Peyton McNair. She's 10th in the NCAA in triples with 8. currently on a 5-game hit streak and RBI streak since the second game of the NJAC tournament against Kane. 9 total hits and 7 total RBIs in that stretch, and that one's drilled down left field line. It's a base hit in the left field. Peyton McNair rounding first. She's heading to second, and it's a leadoff double in the second inning for Peyton McNair. Another double for her. She's just been on an absolute tear the last few days.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful hit right down the third base line, and the Profs are really excited and ready to add on to this lead.
Caitlin Riggs will try and answer as she made the all-regional tournament team as she went a total of 3 for 9, 5 RBIs, 2 doubles, 2 runs. And the regional finals in Game 3 was one of the best games of her life. Career high 5 RBIs and tied her career highs in hits with 3 and runs with 2. Career day for Caitlin Riggs back on May 18th as she takes for strike 1. Runner in scoring position with McNair's speed. All you got to do is put the ball in the outfield.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really just want to make something happen here and get on the board first. It really can do a lot for the momentum of the team. So hopefully she just get the ball in play and good things will happen.
298 batting average for Caitlin Riggs. 28 RBIs. Bunt dropped down by Caitlin Riggs. It drops right before Martin. The throw to first is in time. McNair goes to third. She's 60 feet away from scoring. It's just a lot of small balls. The second sacrifice bunt today by both the number 2 hitters in the inning at least, but they're just trying to make sure that they can get the next runner over. But this time for the Profs, they have a runner at third with 1 out instead of 2 like Slaw was in the last inning.
Yeah, definitely a better position to be in that the Profs are in right now, because all you need is a sacrifice fly to get the runner home, especially with that 1 out. So definitely a good spot to be in.
Pulowski takes high for ball 1. She went 1 for 4 against MIT in the 9-1 victory with an RBI double. Last year's Super Regional, she got 2 hits in Game 3 and went a total of 4 for 11 with 2 doubles and an RBI. Profs trying to threaten early. Here's the pitch. Down Broadway for strike 1 to the left fielder in the right-hander's batter's box. Pulowski only a sophomore, but got to experience the College World Series as a freshman. So that's a really good experience for her to have early to continue on her prof career in softball.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good to have that experience under your belt. Definitely can help you the second time around be more calm, controlled.
Thought about going around, but it's ruled a strike no matter what. So now Martin back in control. 1-2 count with 1 out. Looking for a strikeout. Make sure McNair does not move over at third. Already got her 100th strikeout of the season. Looking to tack on 1 more. 1-2 is way high above the head of Pulowski, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, really just want to get the ball in here. Noticing there's a really big gap between first base and Brickner over at first, so possible to poke it that way and get the run home.
Pulowski in last year's World Series run, she got on base in her final 7 games in the postseason. Next pitch, looks like it hit Pulowski, but it didn't swing, so it trickles to the first base side, and Pulowski is going to look at the home plate umpire and Coach Wilson. She's going to make sure that she's okay. It looks like it hit her square in the hands. That's what it looked like, because it sounded like it hit the bat, because it was close to the bat, but looks like it hit her hand maybe, but she's not really like shaking anything. And now she shakes her left hand, so it looks like it hit her hand, but she did swing, so it's going to be ruled a foul ball.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it hit maybe the bottom of the bat. Made sort of a weird sound. It sounded like it was her hand, but she seems fine.
One out, runner at third. Here's the pitch. Popped up, straight up. Maharity under it. She's going to make a read, but it goes out of play behind the netting. So it remains a 2-strike count for Pulowski. Full count. It's just got to protect, find any way to get on base. A walk even helps, because then you just pass the baton.
Absolutely. Any way you can get on base, it could rattle the other team, hit by pitch. Anything you can do to get on just could help the Profs here. Get something going.
Bryant in the on-deck circle, the left-handed third baseman. Top of the second, scoreless. Martin set in the circle. Here's the pitch. It's popped up in the infield. Martin will get under it. Actually, Maherty will call everyone off in foul ground on third base side, and she will make the catch for out number 2. Yeah. Pulowski goes back to the dugout with a scrunch on her face. A little disappointed, but you still have Peyton McNair at third, but now you have to get a hit in the outfield in order for McNair to score.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a little bit of a missed opportunity there, to pop it up, especially in foul territory. Really know where the runner over at third can go. So hopefully Bryant can kind of pick up the slack here, get something started.
Went 2 for 3 in the game against MIT in game 3 of that regional final. Next pitch is to inside for Bree Bryant. 1-0 count to start off her first AB of the softball super regionals. Both these teams made the College World Series last year, both trying to go back to Marshall, Texas, campus of East Texas Baptist University. They're still in the tournament. Next pitch is down Broadway for strike one. 1-1 count to the left-handed third baseman. 286 batting average, made all regional tournament team, 3 for 9 with an RBI, which came in game 2. She went 2 for 8 with 4 walks in the super regional last year.
Yeah, Bryant's definitely had a good season. She's known for slap hitting a lot, slap bunting, so.
In the dirt, ball 2, 2-1 count for Bree.
Yeah, just really important to try to just make contact.
It's the biggest key with McNair over at third. 0-0 ball game with 2 teams that are leading the NCAA in D3 in ERA. Any run is crucial. Next pitch is at the knees, below the knees for ball 3. 3-1 count to Bree. You have to find a pitch that you like in order to swing at it.
Absolutely, especially if you're going to slap bunt. It really has to be the perfect one. Any slight error with that kind of, bunt is going to either turn into a pop-up or kind of like a dribbler in foul territory. So, got to be fussy here.
Next pitch is grounder over to the third base. Made by Griever. Throw to first is in time, so a run will not score. And the Profs go down 1-2-3 after a leadoff double by Peyton McNair. But we will go to the bottom of the second. Still scoreless. Captains back up to bat when we return here on Rowan Radio 89.7 at WGLS FM.
Coverage of Prof Sports on Rowan Radio is made possible in part by the Brown and Gold Gridiron Club. The Gridiron Club is composed of former participants and supporters of the RUGSC football program, whose goal is to bridge Rowan's athletes past, present, and future. If you would like to support the club, participate in Gridiron events, or would like more information, the email address is gridironclub@rowan.edu. The Brown and Gold Gridiron Club is proud to support Prof Sports on Rowan Radio.
Hey, this is Gavin Trutzenbach from Gavin's Rock Lab. Monday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. here on Rowan Radio. And now, let's get back to the game.
Sun's starting to poke out here in Glassboro, New Jersey. 2024 softball super regionals in D3 action between the Profs and the Christopher Newport Captains. My name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Chella. Still scoreless in the bottom of the second. Captains, the quote home team in the first game of the 2024 softball super regionals. Due up is Jules Donnelly and Carolyn Pollock and Meredith Brickner. 5, 6, 7 due up for the Christopher Newport Captains. And we'll see if they can score this or break this scoreless tie. It's outside for ball 1 to Donnelly, the right-handed left fielder for Christopher Newport. They've outscored their opponents this year, Sydney, 239-63. Huge margin for the bats of the Captains. That one's popped up, but it's jammed. After it is Peyton McNair in the shallow left field. She'll make the catch for out number 1. Quick first out for Riley Lutz, who's still in the circle.
Yeah, really nice to get that fast, quick out to start off the inning. You definitely don't want to give Christopher Newport any momentum. I mean, their lineup is just, really amazing in terms of batting average, hits, slugging percentage, all of that. So getting out any way you can if you're the Profs.
Up now is Carolyn Pollock, the second baseman. The right-hander takes for ball 1 inside. 1-0 count to start off her first AB. 1 out, nobody on in the bottom of the second. So far for Pollock, she leads this team in home runs with 4 with a .274 batting average. That one is drilled down the left field line. After it is Pulowski. And she will make the catch for out number 2 down the left field line, and really quick 2 outs, Sydney. 4 pitches, 2 outs. Can't get really any better than that.
Yeah, really good. I mean, it always helps to keep that pitch count low, especially early in the game, because you never know what's going to happen. And good defense by the Profs. Great way to start the inning.
Now Meredith Brickner steps in. Hometown not too far from here. She resides from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. First pitch is at the knees for strike 1 from Riley Lutz. Junior so far this year. 266 batting average. Only 1 long ball, 17 hits, 13 RBIs. And a 2-out situation in the bottom of the second with nobody on, and she pops one into shallow ground, and Melvin will make the play, but dropped it right before her. So it's a base hit for Brickner.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough one if you're out there in the outfield. You know, those weird ones right in between, shortstop and center. So way to get the ball in. Nothing you can really do there.
A lot of soft contact so far early from Riley Lutz when a ball has been put in play. The only hit so far for the Captains has been an infield single from Candace Slaw, the C2C Coast to Coast Rookie of the Year. First pitch to the catcher, Maherty, and she takes for strike 1. As a runner at first after the Brickner single. So far this year, 10 RBIs with 9 hits. Freshman standing at 5'6", fouls one away. First base side goes to Lutz's favor, 0-2. Lutz was last year's actually MVP of the Ashland Super Regional last year, so she's just meant for the big moments, Sydney.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next pitch to Maherty, 0-2 from Lutz, fouled away. Almost neck level as Maherty is shaking her head saying, I shouldn't have swung at that and should have taken for ball 1, but it still remains an 0-2 count. Had a really surprised look. She almost surprised herself with that swing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, clearly she's trying to just battle and get on any way that she could, but you don't want to make those silly mistakes because that was like at her head, eye level, you know what I mean?
Next pitch is outside. Now it's a 1-2 count for Maherty. She didn't get too much playing time in the regional last weekend. She didn't play in game 1. She had a 2-run single and a sacrifice fly in the second game against Ramapo. And a swing and a miss from Riley Lutz. That's the first strikeout of the day for Riley Lutz. And we'll go to the top of the third where the Profs are back up to bat. Still scoreless as we go to the top of the third, and we'll be right back. Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM.
WGLS FM programming is made possible in part by Inspira Health. Getting sick is never convenient, especially when you're juggling a full course load, a job, an internship, or all 3. The MyInspira app allows you to access care at home, between classes, or on the go. Services include consulting board-certified doctors by phone or video chat to get a quick diagnosis and treatment for non-emergency medical issues, from acne to the flu. You can see a doctor immediately or select a time for your virtual visit that works for you and your schedule. Download the MyInspira app to get started today. Inspira Health is a proud supporter of programming on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM.
Hey, it's Lee Kirshner from the 80s Arcade, Saturday mornings from 10 till noon, only on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM. And now, let's get back to the game.
Back in Glassboro, New Jersey. Here in the 2024 Softball Super Regionals between the Christopher Newport Captains and your Rowan Profs. My name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Chella. Still scoreless in the top of the third, Sydney. It's been a lot of pitching early, a lot of soft contact from both Martin and Lutz. But that's kind of what we expected. Both teams are top 10 in team ERA, so we expected not a lot of runs, but both of the bats can explode when they want to. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see they've been making things happen, but they haven't really been able to get the runs in on either side. A lot of small ball, like we talked about a little earlier, a lot of bunts, so they got to continue to put the ball in play in any way that they can and hopefully, get a couple runs home.
8-9-1 due up for the Profs in the top of the third. Leading off is Mackenzie Melvin, the center fielder, then McNair, and then back to the top of the order with McCaffrey. Outside for strike 1 to Mackenzie Melvin. But these two last played in February of 2022, and it was an 8-5 loss down in Raleigh, North Carolina, where both Riggs and McCaffrey scored RBI singles. And actually, Kat Thomas pitched in that inning, or in that game, and she went 5 complete innings. Next pitch is low. 1-1 count for Mackenzie Melvin, but Kat Thomas used to pitch back in her early days as a prof, and she pitched against Christopher Newport. But their last win was back in 2011 against Christopher Newport, where they won 9-0. 1-1 count for Melvin. She takes low again for ball 2. 2-1 count for the center fielder, who was the leadoff batter, then the 9-hole batter, and now is batting 8th for Rowan. Leads his team in stolen bases and made first team All-Region not too long ago. Swings through a high, tempting fastball, and it's blown by her for strike 2. 2-2 count.
Definitely important to just kind of take a breath and relax on this one. That one was a little bit upstairs and just being really aggressive.
2 RBI triples in the 2 games against MIT in the regionals. Those are only 2 hits last weekend. Next pitch is too high for her to swing at, and the count works to full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and nobody out in the top of the third. 0-0 ball game between the captains and the profs. Head coach Kim Wilson taking on head coach Keith Parr, both 20-plus seasons in softball. 3-2. It's low for ball 4. Mackenzie Melvin gets on base via the walk. It's a great way to start off the third. Another leadoff base runner for the profs. They had a leadoff double from McNair, and she got all the way to third. This time they get a walk from Mackenzie Melvin.
Yeah, really good way to start the inning. I mean, now you have Zara McNair coming up. That'll bring up McCaffrey. So it's almost like you're starting from the top of your lineup because there's some solid athletes coming up and definitely can make something happen.
Martin looks at her PitchCom watch. A lot of teams implementing that in D3 softball. First pitch is high to Zara McNair for ball 1. 1-0 count to the left-handed right fielder. He's batting .276 this season. Sister of Peyton McNair, as we mentioned, had the leadoff double in the second. Weren't able to capitalize on it. Martin gets set. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Zara McNair, and it's too high again for ball 2. Martin getting a little wild, as something we haven't really seen is she's been able to get on some tears. She actually threw a perfect game, a 5-inning perfect game against Meredith to end the season.
Yeah, definitely. She doesn't want to get wild here, especially with the profs bats. They've been known to draw walks and kind of get on it any way that they can. So it'll be interesting to see if she settles down.
Next pitch to Zara McNair, and has the red light. Takes a pitch down the middle for the first strike of her first at-bat. 2-1 count for McNair. She went 2 for 10 in the regionals. 2 singles, 1 in the first game and 1 in the second game. Next pitch is a bunt shown, but is pulled back, but it's still ruled a strike. So count works back into Martin's favor. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the 9-hole hitter for the profs. Zara McNair ended her season with a 4-game hit streak and run streak with 7 total hits and 8 runs. We're going to have another hit and another run potentially in game 1 of the Super Regionals, but she swings through strike 3. Be the second strikeout of the day for Martin, and it's strikeout number 101 of the season. And now we go back to the top of the order with Liz McCaffrey with Mackenzie Melvin at first base.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Definitely don't want to strike out there. Like we talked about a lot, just trying to get the ball in play, even if it's just a simple base hit. And now with McCaffrey up, I think there's a good chance she can make something happen. She's been an asset for the profs all year, so see what she could do here.
Jamie Martin was one of the main reasons they won the 2022 national title, as McCaffrey gets jammed on a pitch inside. Down the first base line it goes, and it hits off the netting foul, where most of the profs fans reside. But she won a national NCAA Rookie of the Year in 2022. Jamie Martin was first All-Region, second team All-American. Only 1 loss, 22 wins, 1.12 ERA back when they won the national title. 3 wins in the College World Series. And she had a 7-inning shutout against Trine to lock up the national title. Next pitch to Liz McCaffrey is a little high for ball 1, even count. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out with a runner on in the top of the 3rd. 0-0 in the 2024 Division III softball Super Regionals. McCaffrey popped out to the first baseman of Brickner in her first at-bat. She's 0 for 1 today. And a 1-1 count again to Martin. Here's the pitch. Too low for ball 2.
And McCaffrey's got a really good eye today. You know, she held off on that one that was a little bit upstairs. Some of her teammates have been swinging at that one. Definitely trying to draw the walk and just get on base here.
She had a double in the 3rd game of the regionals against MIT in the 9-1 victory. Had 5 hits in last year's Super Regionals with 3 hits in Game 3 and 2 total doubles. It's been a huge asset in all the postseason games for the Profs. Next pitch is drilled over the second base side. It's through into right field for a base hit. Melvin questioning to go back to second or third. Now she's stuck in a pickle between second and third. She's going to try and go back to second. Tag by Griever, and she does make the tag on Melvin, and she's out. She was just a little hesitant on whether to go to third or not. It's kind of like a deer in headlights, and she just stopped in her tracks, and then Griever was able to make the tag. It's now 2 outs, but this time McCaffrey's over at first base instead of 2 runners on.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough break for the Profs. I mean, that should have been an easy first and second 1-out type of situation, and now to lose that, like you said, definitely looked a little bit lost. Wasn't sure exactly where to go. Maybe missed a sign, but, you know, same position as they were before, just now with 2 outs, so see what's going to happen.
Now Tripodi steps in again. She struck out in her first at-bat, the first strikeout victim for Jamie Martin. First pitch to Tripodi is a high fly ball into shallow ground. Under it is Bentley, and she gets called off by Donnelly in left field to make the catch for out number 3. Again, the Profs threaten, but they got no runs to show for it. It's still scoreless as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. Captain's back up to bat. We'll be right back. We're on radio, 89.7 at WGLS FM.
WGLS programming is made possible in part by the Rowan University Alumni Association. Delighted to serve over 100,000 Rowan proud profs through exciting events and programs, communications, volunteer and mentorship opportunities, and special benefits and discounts. Since its founding, the Alumni Association has worked to maintain a lasting and positive relationship between our dedicated graduates and their alma mater. Alumni are encouraged to check out the website for more information about getting involved. The website is alumni.rowan.edu. The Rowan University Alumni Association is proud to sponsor the programming on Rowan Radio.
This is Sue Schilling, your host for Everything Special Needs, Saturday at 8 a.m. on Rowan Radio. And now let's get back to the game.
9-1-2 due up for the Christopher Newport Captains. 2024 softball super regionals between the Rowan Profs and the Christopher Newport Captains. My name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Chella. Still scoreless in the bottom of the 3rd. It's been a lot of pitching, but the Profs have threatened in back-to-back top halves of the innings, but have nothing to show for it so far. Riley Lutz still in the circle against Kendall Bentley, the 9-hole hitter, and she dribbles one down the first base line, and she can't make the play down the first place line. And Riley Lutz will fumble it a little bit. It'll be an infield single for Kendall Bentley. Any means necessary to get a hit for the Captains.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of a weird one. Nothing you can do if you're the Profs there. Kind of that perfect placement in between home and first base, and really slow speed, so good job by Bentley for getting on any way she can.
She tried to glove it down the first base line. Might have been better to barehand it, but we'll never know. Next pitch is a bunt shown by Candace Slaw, who got an infield single in her first at-bat. But she now has a runner at first base. So we're back to the top of the order. Left-handed slap hitter for Christopher Newport. Shows bunt again. Outside. Count now 1-1.
Yeah, Slaw's been known to get on in kind of any way that she can, and now that she's got that runner over at first base, We'll see what she could do to get her over to second.
She went 3 for 4 in her last 2 regional games as she bunts one straight back into the Profs backstop. 1-2 count now for Candace Slaw, Coast to Coast Rookie of the Year, as we mentioned earlier. She had 6 hits, including her first Christopher Newport home run in their last 2 regional games with 3 runs and 2 RBIs. And she was the most outstanding player for her performance last weekend in that regional tournament. 1-2 pitch is chopped down the third base line, foul towards Christopher Newport's dugout. 1-2 count still for Candace Slaw, freshman out of Warsaw, Virginia. She had a 4-game multi-hit streak from the last game of the year till May 4th with 9 total hits, all singles. Lutz getting set. Here's the next pitch. 1-2. Outside. Runner takes off. Throw to second. Is not in time. Bentley with a stolen base for Christopher Newport. They are very aggressive on the base paths. A lot of double-digit stolen bags for a lot of players on this Christopher Newport team, Sydney.
Yeah, they're definitely not scared to be aggressive on the base paths. And I mean, that throw by Riggs was right there. She just beat it out by a step or two. So good job all around. But in the end, Bentley got the better of the Profs.
Slaw down the left field line, and it's out of play. That was Bentley's 9th stolen base on the season. Now Slaw just is looking to capitalize with now a runner in scoring position. No outs in the bottom of the third. 2-2 count for Candace Slaw. Lutz, the 2-2 pitch, fouled straight back into the netting. Still remains a 2-2 count.
It really helps to have that runner on second base. I mean, Slaw's got 64 hits coming into this game, now 65, and, you know, we've seen what she could do, so pretty good chance she's going to get that runner over here.
1.24 ERA for Riley Lutz so far this season. 14 wins. That one's fouled again, third base side towards James Hall. Still remains a 2-2 count. Lutz, 2023 NJAC Pitcher of the Year. Had a lot of accolades with her time as a prof. 2-2 is a chopper over the head of Bree Bryant at third, but it's fielded by Peyton McNair, and everybody's safe as they try to make the play at third as Bentley went from second to third, and now there's runners on the corners for the next hitter of Delaney Knuckles.
Yeah, that's definitely a tricky one for Bryant, but good for them for trying to get that play over at third base and not letting the run get home.
It was over the head of Bree Bryant and fielded by Peyton McNair behind her, and it results into another infield single. Captains with a lot of small ball today.
Absolutely.
3 infield hits. Knuckles, the designated player, the first pitch as Slaw takes off, but Riggs fakes the throw to third is not in time. Everybody's safe. Now 2 runners in scoring position, and that will be Slaw's 39th stolen base, which leads the team, and Kim Wilson will come out. And it might just be a confidence boost moment for Lutz and Kim Wilson. We'll see what the deal is, but Lutz is getting shaken up a little bit in this bottom of the third, Sydney. 2 batters both getting in scoring position. No outs so far in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like they're having no trouble, making contact. Haven't necessarily been able to, string enough runs together, hits together to get a run, but looks like hopefully she'll calm down a little bit here after having that talk from her coach.
So Lutz still in the circle, facing against Knuckles. She had a sacrifice bunt in her first at-bat. First pitch is a high fastball, ruled for ball 1. Knuckles, as we mentioned, 5 years as a leadoff batter with the Randolph Wildcats. That next pitch is 2 inside for ball 2. 2-0 count as Lutz, just for confidence purposes, just needs to find the strike zone, but not put one too much over the plate as you're going against Christopher Newport. 2-0 pitch, hitters count. Next pitch is high for, ball 4 as I was just a pitch behind, but now the bases are loaded with no outs for Riley Lutz with Brooke Griever. Someone you definitely don't want to have up in this kind of situation. And Lutz, this is one of the worst situations to be in as a pitcher. Bases loaded, no outs against one of the teams that have capitalized with runs this year.
Yeah, definitely not an ideal situation. I mean, the best you can hope for here is a double play.
First pitch is a ball outside the zone. 1-0 count for Brooke Griever. Flew out to center in her first at-bat. Left-hander steps back in. Next pitch, outside, ball 2. Griever last season was the Coast to Coast Player of the Year, which is the 12th in Christopher Newport history.
Yeah, she's definitely not someone that you want to pitch to in such an important game with the bases loaded, but you know, Riley Lutz is definitely a standout pitcher here, so if she can just calm down and remember what got her here, hopefully she'll be able to get out of this.
Griever had 13 home runs, 41 RBIs with a .396 batting average in 2023. This year, .397, 3 home runs, 27 RBIs. Griever looking to turn one around here with the bases loaded, no outs in the bottom of the third. That's a strike. Griever shakes her head. And Lutz finally gets the strike zone. 2-1 count. Still scoreless. Griever out of Abington, Maryland, drills one into the outfield, deep into right field, and it's over McNair's head, and it goes up against the wall. McNair will throw it into McCaffrey, the throw to home, and everyone will be safe. 2 runs will score for Christopher Newport, and Griever with an RB or 2-run double in the bottom of the third. They answer first.
Yeah, really good hit by Griever right out into right center field. You know, nothing McNair could really do out there, or Melvin for that matter, just kind of perfect placement, and definitely is going to be enough to rattle the Profs here.
Profs used to taking advantage early, but it looks like there's going to be a lineup change. They're going to have a pinch runner for Griever. So it'll be Regin Luby for Christopher Newport.
Yeah, important to have speed on the base paths, especially still with no outs here. You want to do as much as you can, get those runs in.
Regin, a sophomore, looking to just have more speed on the base paths, as you said, Sydney. Now steps in is Katie Curran, who leads his team in home runs. 26 RBIs for her. No outs still in the bottom of the third. Lutz, first pitch is a strike. Now it's a 2-0 game, and you definitely have to have a different approach when you're at the plate the next time the bats come up. If you're Rowan, they're not really used to being down early.
Yeah, definitely a hard position to be put in. Now, you know, you're coming back, got to fight back in this game.
They were down early in the first few games that they had in the regionals against MIT, but they were able to come back.
Yeah, there's no doubt Rowan has a really good lineup batting-wise.
Fouls it away, straight back. 1-2 count now for Curran. Lined out to center in her first at-bat. She's 0 for 1 today, the right fielder. She's the leader in home runs and RBIs. 32 RBIs for her this season. That one's drilled into left field. Going back is Pulowski, and it's up against the wall. 1 run will score, rounding third, and will head back to third is the pinch runner of Regin Luby, and it's another RBI for a phenomenal season for Katie Curran.
Yeah, that's a tough one if you're out there in left field, and you know, nothing much you can do when the ball's hit that hard. You know, Christopher Newport University is definitely fired up over in the dugout, and if you're the Profs, you just want to calm down a little bit and kind of remember what got you there.
Still no outs in the bottom of the third. 3-0 Christopher Newport. In is Jules Donnelly, the right-handed left fielder. 0 for 1 so far today. 2 runners in scoring position. Outside. Ball 1. It's So now the question is, if Lutz is getting shaken up this bad, when do you go to Emily McCutcheon potentially? Next pitch. Outside, ball 2.
Yeah, really good point. I mean, I believe in regionals, it was Lutz who came in for McCutcheon. So now to be on the sort of the opposite end of things, it's going to be interesting to see when or if she brings McCutcheon in.
Next pitch, 2-0 is way too high for ball 3. Christopher Newport just has to be patient. They know that they are a threat, and Lutz knows that. So you just have to wait for her to throw a strike. And Lutz is probably shaken up a little bit because she knows she can't throw a strike down the plate because Christopher Newport can capitalize with no outs and 2 runners in scoring position. 3-0 is a strike on the inside part of the plate. 3-1 count for Jules Donnelly. Popped out to Peyton McNair in her first at-bat. Lead off the second. Now she's back up in the third. Next pitch from Lutz. Just below the knees. Maybe a little inside as well for ball 4. First base is open, but the bases are loaded again with no outs. 2 runners in scoring position.
Yeah,
but now it's a 3-0 game.
Definitely a tricky position if you're the Profs. You know, you already had that mound visit. Didn't seem to do too much, and it's like they're going to meet up again at mound.
And it's going to be Veronica Good who comes in for the Profs in the 3rd inning. And that will do it for Riley Lutz. Veronica Good has not pitched in a long time, but we're going to send it to break as Veronica Good gets warmed up in the 2024 Softball Glassboro Super Regionals when we return. Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM.
WGLS FM programming is made possible in part by the GRASP Coalition, an initiative of the Southwest Council. The GRASP Coalition is dedicated to preventing the abuse of addictive substances through strategic community partnerships. The GRASP Coalition is currently looking for passionate collaborators to join their prevention efforts. Visit their website calendar to discover when you can join the next Community Coalition meeting. For more information on the GRASP Coalition or the Southwest Council, the website is southwestcouncil.org/our-coalitions. The GRASP Coalition and the Southwest Council are proud to support the programming on Rowan Radio.
Hey, this is Gary Daidulo, your host of the Icon Rock Show, Saturdays at 5 p.m. on Rowan Radio. And now let's get back to the game.
After Riley Lutz gets shaken up in the bottom of the 3rd, 3-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. Bases loaded, no outs. As we go on to Carolyn Pollock, the right-handed second baseman for Christopher Newport. And Veronica Good now in the circle, the sophomore right-hander from Columbia, Maryland. Steps into the circle for the Profs. First pitch is a strike. Pollock flew out in her last at-bat to Abby Pulowski in left field, but Veronica Good has only had 3 appearances this year. Next pitch off speed, too high. 1-1 count for Veronica Good and Carolyn Pollock. No decisions so far yet for Good this season. 3 total innings pitched, 3 walks given up, only 1 strikeout. An 11.67 ERA and drilled into left field over Bree Bryant's head for a base hit. 1 run will score. Here comes another. The tag is in time. Katie Curran out at the plate. And Pollock will go over to second base. Again, 2 runners in scoring position, but the Profs finally get 1 out. But it's another RBI hit, this time for Pollock. And Riggs is shaken up at the plate.
Yeah, really good throw and really good catch at home plate, and now they're going to come to the mound, see what's going on now.
It was a difficult play at the plate as Curran, I believe, cleated Caitlin Riggs at home plate.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, kind of like a bang-bang play. Just trying to get home any way that you can, but it does look like Riggs will stay out there.
It's going to be rough with a cleat injury on looks like her leg. It looks like it's her left leg that they're looking at. She had to pull her left pant leg up to show the athletic trainer if she's okay.
Yeah, that's definitely got to hurt, especially coming in at that speed.
Looks like they're going to bandage it up with the yellow bandage tape that they have, but 4 runs so far for Christopher Newport as they tend to Caitlin Riggs, and they're just going to bandage it up. And Veronica Good getting the first out of the bottom of the third, but fourth appearance so far for Veronica at around a 12 ERA. Someone that we weren't expecting to come in since they have McCutcheon in their back pocket, but Good, again, only 3 appearances before today. And Caitlin Riggs will strap up the catcher's gear once again.
Yeah, very unexpected decision to make. Again, like you said, with McCutcheon, who's had such a phenomenal year as well, to bring in Good. But, we'll see what's going on, if there's method to their madness. And looks like Riggs will stay out there and see what's going to happen from here.
Meredith Brickner will step in for the captains after Riggs straps everything up. She will tend back to the mound visit that the entire infield with Veronica Good is having. They'll say that she's okay, and she'll attend back to behind home plate. But both these teams have been very good in prior tournaments. According to D3 Sports data, Rowan and Christopher Newport are both one of the best tournament teams since 2018. Christopher Newport ranking 4th with an NCAA appearance all 6 years and 1 national title in 2022. And Rowan ranks 6th with 5 appearances and 2 College World Series appearances in that 6-year span. 17 straight NCAA appearances for Christopher Newport. One of the best softball programs in D3 for the longest time. Good to Brickner is a ball too high for ball number 1. Brickner had a single, but did nothing with it in the second inning. She's 1 for 1 today. It's the next pitch from Good. It's high, a little outside as well for ball 2. Hitters count for Brickner as she's looking for her second hit of the day, Sydney.
Yeah, Brickner's, like you said, looking for her second hit, so she certainly has been seeing the ball okay over the last few games. And
ball's hit into left field down the line, and it drops down for a fair ball. 1 run will score of Donnelly, and Brickner will go over to second base. They'll hold the runner at third. Pollock will stay at third, but another run scores. It's 5-0. Christopher Newport leads in game 1.
Yeah, definitely not something that you want to see happening if you're the Profs. They're not really used to being down by a lot and to have to fight back in this game. And, the decision to put Good in, we'll see what comes of it. But so far, Christopher Newport really seems to be capitalizing off of the Rowan pitchers.
Looks like there will be another pinch runner in for Christopher Newport. Looks like it'll be Brennan Moorfield, the junior outfielder, comes in for Brickner at second base.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to get as many runs as they can, now that they're hot and they're really seeing the ball well. You never know when that's going to happen in a game, so try to capitalize on it when you're hitting.
Keith Parr, the head coach for Christopher Newport, definitely knows that against a team like the Profs. He knows that this 5-run inning is massive against Rowan. 1 out in the bottom of the third. 5-0. Malia Maherty is now in for Christopher Newport. Bats wise and shrilled over to Peyton McNair. Under her glove into left field for a base hit. 1 run will score, and they'll hold up another runner at third. Moorfield will stay at third, and Maherty with another RBI single for Christopher Newport.
Yeah, really not great to start making those errors. If you're the Profs, it's not the time, to fall apart with the errors. It's something you can do if they hit the ball, well, but got to make those easy plays.
We have now batted around. Kendall Bentley got this inning started with an infield single and a stolen base. And it's been a 6-run inning ever since. 1 out, drops down the bunt, pulls back. Riggs looks at everyone, but no throw. She holds back, and they ruled a ball, and Kim Wilson will discuss things with the umpire after 1 pitch. And it looks like Lutz is going to come back in. Something you can do in softball, and they're going to roll the confidence back to Lutz after 1 pitch of the at-bat to Bentley. So now Bentley and Lutz are in a 1-0 count. even though Lutz didn't throw the pitch. But definitely an interesting decision for Kim Wilson to take her out, put Veronica Good, and then bring Lutz back in.
Yeah,
So,
that's an interesting thought process. I'm wondering if it was maybe to just kind of, break up the karma of the game, break up the momentum, and try to get Lutz to sort of calm down a little bit in the dugout here. But very interesting, like you said, to come back in mid-inning. So we'll see if she's calmed down and ready to take on Christopher Newport here.
next pitch, Bentley drops down a bunt, throw to home, Riggs makes the tag, and it's in time. So 2 runners on. They prevent the run. It's still 6-0. Now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd. But 2 runners on, and Bentley gets on from the sacrifice bunt. They try to squeeze the runner in, but we'll see if it looks like Bentley is now hurt on the first base side. And so a lot of injuries this time from Christopher Newport of Bentley. And it was first Riggs, and it's been a hostile inning. But it looks like she could have twisted up her ankle maybe on first base.
Yeah, all the action was really going towards home plate to get that lead runner. So, no one was really focused on what was going on with Bentley running down to first. But, yeah, maybe she tripped over the bag or something along those lines.
So they'll tend to her. She got as we said, got the inning started as the captains have batted around with an infield single, a stolen base, and a run scored.
Looks like she'll stay in.
So she'll stay in. She can put pressure. It's just a matter of if she can run, but she's still being held up by her first base coach. It's just a matter of if she can run. That's the main purpose. They're going to let her jog, but she gives the thumbs up as she just jogs to the brink of the outfield.
Yeah, she looks like she's ready to play. I mean, she's not the lead runner, so if it comes down to, a play at home or anything like that, it shouldn't be an issue for her.
She'll shake it off. They'll move back to the top of the order of Candace Slaw. Leader in batting average, on base percentage, hits, and stolen bases. Got her 39th this inning. Her 66th hit. Her last at-bat. 2 for 2 with 2 singles and a run scored. Lutz back in the circle. Pitch is outside for ball 1 to Candace Slaw. So Veronica Good makes her 4th appearance, and Lutz wants to take back over. Candace Slaw fouls one off. 1-1 count to the Coast to Coast Rookie of the Year.
Definitely caught a nice break getting that run out at home. I'm going to try to build off that momentum if you're the Profs to try to get Slaw out here.
Looking for their 54th tournament win. Slaw shows bunt, holds back as the pitch was in the dirt. 2-1 count for Candace Slaw. 53 and 39 NCAA tournament all-time record for Christopher Newport. Currently on an 18-game win streak, 33-5 record. Profs 37-7. Next pitch is fouled behind Caitlin Riggs into the backstop. 2-2 count for Slaw. Now you can't bunt though.
No, you can't.
2 strikes. If you bunt again and it's foul, you're out. That's baseball for you, and softball.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see. We've seen a lot of slap bunting and bunts from her, so we'll have to see her actually sling the bat right now.
Next pitch is fouled away as Knuckles tried to barehand it. She's in the on-deck circle with Slaw in a 2-2 count, 2 outs. 6 runs poured on in this bottom of the 3rd for Christopher Newport. Lutz is set. 2-2 is outside for ball 3. Full count for Candace Slaw. A huge pitch underway in the Super Regionals. Bottom of the 3rd, 6-0. All 6 runs scored in this bottom half of the 3rd. 2 runners on for Riley Lutz. Here's the pitch. It's grounded third base side. Will they let it roll foul? And it will. Looking for a decision from the umpire. Yes, it will roll foul. So 3-2 count. It remains for Candace Law. If it rolled foul, or if it stayed fair, I should say, it would have been another infield single for Slaw with her speed, but she goes back into left-hander's batter's box. 3-2 again, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. Strikeout number 2 for Riley Lutz. But after 6 runs, Christopher Newport is finally down with 3 outs in the bottom of the third. 6-0. Profs need an answer in the top of the fourth. We'll see if they do when we return here on Rowan Radio 89.7 at WGLS FM.
WGLS programming is made possible in part by Barnes & Noble, the official bookstore for Rowan University. Located at 201 Rowan Boulevard, Barnes & Noble is your #1 choice for profs gear, as well as a wide assortment of gifts, accessories, and sportswear. The bookstore is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday from 10 to 6, and Sunday, 10 until 6 p.m. The Starbucks Cafe opens 8 a.m. Monday through Friday, and at 10 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. For more information, their website is rowanbookstore.bncollege.com. The Barnes & Noble Bookstore is proud to be a supporter of Rowan Radio, 89.7 WGLS FM.
I'm Allie Bruce from the Rowan Report. Tune in on Saturday mornings at 9:30 on Rowan Radio. And now, back to the game.
3-4-5 due up for the Rowan Profs, who are now down at 6-0 in the top of the fourth inning. Christopher Newport piling on all 6 of their runs in the bottom half of the third. With you is myself, Jack Miller. To my left is Sydney Chella. And Sydney, that was a crucial kind of inning to have for bats and for offense purposes. And 6-0 is a pretty comfortable lead now for Jamie Martin, but the Profs really need an answer sooner rather than later. You got 4 more innings to come up with something.
Yeah, definitely. It's important for the Profs to just get on the board in any way that they can. You know, you definitely don't want to be shut out now. We're, in the 4th inning now, so it's not a great place to be in, but, you know, the Profs have a really great lineup. Now, Kat Thomas is up. She's one of their leaders in hits and everything else, so hopefully they can make something happen here. I think if anybody can, they can.
Kat Thomas, leader in home runs, 3. She went 4 for 10 in last year's Super Regionals with 4 RBIs, all of them in Game 1. She had a 3-run homer in that first game as well. Outside for ball 1 from Jamie Martin, the left-hander from South County High School. Hasn't lost since March 27th. That's her only loss this season. 12 wins and only 1 loss for Jamie Martin. Next pitch is down the first base line. Foul. This is a screamer down the right field line and just hooked foul.
Yeah, really good hit. You know, just a little bit late on that ball. You know, maybe if she can move back a little bit, choke up on the bat, kind of move it over. Make it just fair. It'd be a nice double for her, I think.
She was late on it as a right-hander went towards the right side on a fastball. It's got to be a little earlier on it. 1-1 count for the right-handed first baseman. The pitch is down the plate for another strike. 1-2 count in favor for Martin. Martin in last year's Super Regionals lost after throwing 6 innings, giving up 8 hits, 5 earned runs, and 2 walks with 6 strikeouts against Virginia Wesleyan. Next pitch to Kat Thomas is fouled away, first base side again. Remain a 1-2 count with no outs, nobody on as she leads off the top of the fourth. She grounded out to Kendall Bentley at shortstop in her first at-bat. She's 0 for 1.
Really need to start getting some runners on the base paths and make something happen here. We're getting a little bit late in the game for the Profs.
1-2 is high for ball 2. Works it back into her favor. As we mentioned, the last time these two faced each other, Kat Thomas pitched 5 innings, giving up 3 earned runs and 9 total hits. They did lose that game. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Martin. Just below the knees for ball 3. Beautiful eye from Kat Thomas.
Yeah,
full count now.
Really good eye, definitely holding off on a lot of those close pitches.
Looking for her first hit of this year's Super Regional against Christopher Newport. The 3-2 pitch. Fouled away, first base side again. Kat Thomas behind. She still remains in the 3-2 count. But you never know if desperate calls call for desperate measures. You might bring in Kat Thomas to pitch. She has the arm to do so, as she did pitch a handful of times in 2021.
Absolutely. If she has experience with it, might as well give her a go, especially if, we've seen Riley Lutz struggling a little bit in this game.
3-2 again is drilled down the first base line and into right field for a base hit. She'll get on via the single as it goes over the first baseman of Brickner's glove. And it's another leadoff hit for the Profs after Kat Thomas was able to work the count to 3-2, battled, and was able to get on via the single.
Really good hit. Right over her glove, but it was just drilled out into right field. And it's like now they brought in maybe a pinch runner, so it's good to have some more speed on the base paths.
It's Brzezinski.
Trying to make something happen here.
Be Brzezinski for the Profs as the pinch runner. She's been a freshman who's been idolized as the pinch runner, the main pinch runner for this Rowan softball team. It's good for Peyton McNair because she has been a terror for the last few weeks, and honestly this entire season. So for Kim Wilson's sake, we want to get our rally started with Brzezinski as the pinch runner, the lead pinch runner for Rowan. Peyton McNair steps in and takes outside for ball one. She doubled and got all the way to third base, but did not score to lead off the second. After that double, Riggs, Pulowski, and Bryant went down 1-2-3 from Martin. The 1-0 is popped up into shallow right field. After it is Brickner calling off. Brickner is Katie Curran in right field, and she makes the catch right behind her for out number one. A quieting out number one for the Profs, and in steps Caitlin Riggs.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Good job by Curran for kind of coming in on it. Kind of looks like it might have dropped. It was going to drop. It was in between both of them, but really good play and good job by, good job all around.
Caitlin Riggs, the right-handed catcher, steps in. Brzezinski still at first. In the top of the fourth, 6-0. Christopher Newport leads in the Glassboro Super Regionals. Next pitch is called a strike at the knees for Caitlin Riggs. She sacrificed herself for Peyton McNair to get to third in her first at-bat. Her first plate appearance, I should say. Takes a deep breath on the left side of the plate. Next pitch is drilled into right center field. After it is Curran. She dives and she makes the catch in right field. Going back is Brzezinski. She took a big lead at first base, but Curran with a highlight play in right center field for another huge out. And Caitlin Riggs goes down on the line out to right field.
A really great play by Curran out there. And that could have opened the door to start something here for the Profs, and instead she just shuts them right down. So really good play all around, and we'll see what Pulowski can do here.
Diving catch for Katie Curran. Been a highlight reel in right field with the glove and with the bat for Christopher Newport. Now in is Abby Pulowski. She fouls one straight back. Just got a little piece of it. 2 outs in the top of the fourth. Brzezinski still at first base. 6-0 Christopher Newport leads. Got all their runs in the third. Pulowski trying to turn it around. 0-1 count for the left fielder. The pitch for Martin is an off-speed pitch too low for Pulowski to swing at. She holds back for ball one. 1-1 count for the right-handed left fielder.
Those off-speed pitches can be really tempting, so good job by Pulowski on holding off.
Sophomore from Jamesburg, New Jersey, out of Monroe Township High School. Next pitch is off speed, high again. She takes for ball two. She batted .299 last year and started all 52 games. This year batting .241. 2-1 count. Pulowski pops one up third base side, but it'll hook out of play just behind Christopher Newport's dugout. Count will work back to even 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, really good job for her battling here. You really want to try to make something happen. Just try to get another hit, get the ball in play, and try to get a run home at some point.
Profs looking for a 2-out rally in the top of the 4th. Great plays from Katie Curran in right field to get the first 2 outs of the inning. Brzezinski at first. Here's the pitch. 2-2. Called strike 3. Pulowski in shock. And it's strikeout number 3 for Jamie Martin. After another leadoff batter for the Profs, they go down 1-2-3. Still 6-0 as we go to the bottom of the 4th. We'll be right back here on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM.
Coverage of Prof Sports on Rowan Radio is made possible in part by the Brown and Gold Gridiron Club. The Gridiron Club is composed of former participants and supporters of the RUGSC football program, whose goal is to bridge Rowan's athletes past, present, and future. If you would like to support the club, participate in gridiron events, or would like more information, the email address is gridironclub@rowan.edu. The Brown and Gold Gridiron Club is proud to support Prof Sports on Rowan Radio.
Hey, this is Gavin Trutzenbach from Gavin's Rock Lab. Monday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. here on Rowan Radio. And now, let's get back to the game.
Back in Glassboro, the 2024 College World Series, or actually not the College World Series, the College Super Regionals in D3 for the Rowan Profs and the Christopher Newport captains. My name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Cella. And Sydney, 6-0. They weren't able to capitalize in the top half of the 4th. Went down 1-2-3 after a Cat Thomas single. And now Christopher Newport back up to bat to tackle more insurance runs for Jamie Martin.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to happen if you're the Profs. I mean, we're getting a little bit late in the game now to not have any runs. We just got to hope Riley Lutz can shut them down here and not let them get anything else.
Lutz was subbed out for a few batters in the 3rd, but came back after an out and a few runs poured in. In that 3rd inning, after Veronica Good stepped in a little bit in the circle, it's 6-0. Next pitch is a strike for Delaney Knuckles. So far today, technically has no at-bats. She had a sacrifice bunt and a walk that scored a run. Drilled into right center field. After it is Zara McNair, and she makes the catch in right center for out number 1. Quick out number 1 for Riley Lutz. Huge out number 1 is it took her a while to get the first out. She technically didn't get the first out in the 3rd inning. Veronica Good had to do the dirty work for her, and she finally gets the first out of the 4th.
Yeah, really important to get that out early. Kind of lean the momentum back into the Profs' favor. Try to make them Profs feel a little bit better about themselves because obviously last inning was so rough for them.
Brooke Griever steps in outside for ball 1 from Lutz. Flew out and got a 2-run double to start the scoring for Christopher Newport. She got the first 2 runs in the 3rd, now is in the 4th. Flew out in her first at-bat. She also was able to score a run in the 3rd. Griever takes outside for ball 2. 2-0 count, or 3-0 count, excuse me, for Griever with 1 out. Base is empty. Next pitch outside, ball 4. Griever will go to first base after the walk, a 1-out walk from Riley Lutz. And in steps Katie Curran, who had 2 great outs in the top half of the 4th to prevent a few base runners for Rowan.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see if you're the Profs. You want to, kind of minimize all base runners, especially with them up 6 runs. Kind of definitely want them to sort of calm down here. Hopefully Riley Lutz can get them out of this.
Sun has been out for the past few innings. It was mainly cloudy this entire morning with some light rain as well as scattered thunderstorm that reached this area. Next pitch is outside. Be ball 2. So it looks like the captains will wait till Lutz throws a strike. It's a 4-pitch walk for Griever. Now 2 straight balls for Curran. Next pitch is a strike. 2-1 count now between Lutz and Curran. She's 1 for 2 today. Line out in the first, and then an RBI double, and was out at the plate in the third inning in her last at-bat. That's a strike outside corner for strike 2. Back in the count is Lutz. 2 balls, 2 strikes for Riley Lutz. 2-2 is drilled down the third base line and into left field for a base hit. So Kern will head on over to first. Griever will stop at second. 1 out base knock for the left-handed right fielder for her second hit of the day.
Yeah, really good hit by Kern there. Nothing the props can really do about it. I mean, good placement because at least, the runner at second couldn't advance and get to third base. So really good job there and kind of minimizes the damage.
She was 2 for 3 with a 2-run double in the first game of their regional tournament against John Jay. That one's fouled straight back for strike 1. Donnelly steps back in. 0 for 1 with a pop out, a walk and a run scored. The walk and the run came in the third as well. Lutz usually a strikeout thrower, but only 2 strikeouts today. Has 126 total this season. That's outside for strike 2. 0-2 count for Donnelly, and Lutz finally getting into a little bit of a groove here. She's the MVP of last year's Super Regionals down in Ashland against Randolph-Macon. The 0-2. Just outside for ball 1 to Donnelly. She was also the regional MVP. Profs looking to go back to the College World Series in Marshall, Texas again. That's where it was last year. 1-2 is a high fastball drilled up the middle for a base hit. Mackenzie Melvin will field it cleanly, throw it at home, and there's no play at home as Kat Thomas cuts it off. And Griever will hold up at third. So everyone just moves station to station. And it's another base knock on a really high fastball, Sydney, that Donnelly was just able to capitalize on and put it into center field.
Yeah, really interesting hit there by Donnelly. I mean, it's kind of like she, chopped wood, so to speak. Like she kind of just swung completely down on the ball, but she was able to get a lot of height on that bounce and got it out into the outfield.
She had a 2-strike advantage, but she couldn't capitalize against Donnelly. Now in steps Pollock. Lutz first pitch to Pollock is a jam shot, and Lutz on a liner makes the snag for out number 2. Bases will remain loaded now with 2 outs.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of base runners threatening for Christopher Newport. This is like their 3rd or 4th bases loaded situation so far in this game, and it's only the 4th inning.
Yeah, definitely not a great thing to see if you're the props, but really lucky on that hit, right back to the pitcher's mound. And with 2 outs, all you got to do is get the runner at first to get out of this. So hopefully they can make something happen.
Outside for ball 1 for Meredith Brickner. She's 2 for 2 with 2 singles, and she got a single on Veronica Good and Riley Lutz. Now she faces Riley Lutz again. She was tagged out at home as well. That swung through, actually fouled away for strike 1.
Definitely kind of an intimidating foul ball she just hit really hard down the third base line. Don't want her to straighten that out if you're the profs.
It was all barrel just down the left field line. And it sounded like it hit the glove of Caitlin Riggs, but it was foul down the left field line. 1-1. Off speed, called a strike. Actually called a ball. Thought the home plate umpire ruled it a strike, but he did not. 2-1 count. 2 outs, bases loaded for Brickner. She already has 2 hits, but she's looking for her first RBI today. Potentially go 3 for 3. She could get a run scored if she gets a walk. 2-1 count for Lutz. Here's the pitch. Outside for ball 3. 3-1 count for Brickner. Hitters count for the first baseman for Christopher Newport.
I definitely don't want to walk this batter. I mean, if they're going to get runs, let them earn them, right?
3-1 count. Lutz delivers, fouls it straight back. Count works to full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. 6-0. No runs scored in this fourth inning. Brickner did get a pinch hit 3-run homer in the Super Regionals in 2022. Looking for something similar in this at-bat. 3-2, 2 outs. Bottom of the fourth, here's the pitch. It's drilled in the left center field. After it is Melvin, and she makes the catch for out number 3. So they threaten, the captains threaten, with bases loaded in the bottom of the fourth, but no runs will score. It's still 6-0. Captains lead as we head to the top of the fifth. We'll be right back here on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM.
WGLS FM programming is made possible in part by Inspira Health. Getting sick is never convenient, especially when you're juggling a full course load, a job, an internship, or all three. The MyInspira app allows you to access care at home, between classes, or on the go. Services include consulting board-certified doctors by phone or video chat to get a quick diagnosis and treatment for non-emergency medical issues, from acne to the flu. You can see a doctor immediately or select a time for your virtual visit that works for you and your schedule. Download the MyInspira app to get started today. Inspira Health is a proud supporter of programming on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM.
Hey, it's Lee Kirshner from the 80s Arcade, Saturday mornings from 10 till noon, only on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM. And now, let's get back to the game.
Back in Glassboro for the Super Regionals between the Christopher Newport Captains and your Rowan Profs. Due up for the Profs is Bryant, Melvin, and McNair in the top of the fifth, 6-0. Christopher Newport scoring all 6 of their runs in the bottom of the third. And Sydney, the bats need to get rolling because Profs only have 9 outs to work with. They need, again, something sooner rather than later. That's what we mentioned in the bottom or the top of the fourth, but they still have runs to score. They need to score runs. You got to score in order to win.
Yeah, I mean, they're just having trouble, stringing those hits together. They are getting on base. They're playing small ball. They just haven't really been able to make something happen and kind of get that momentum going. I feel like it just is going to take 1 run for them to kind of, open the floodgates. So hopefully they can get something happen, make something happen.
They've had 3 runners left on base after 3 leadoff base runners. And Bree Bryant steps in to try and continue the 3 straight leadoff batters to get on base. Trying to extend it to 4 in the top of the fifth. Jamie Martin still in the circle for the captains, and Bryant swings through the high fastball for strike 1. That high cheddar has been tempting for both Lutz and Martin. A lot of batters have swung through it. We saw it from Donnelly, who got a base hit after it. It was pretty much neck level.
Yeah, she's the only one that's really been able to capitalize off of that. A lot of them have just been, just swinging, missing, and striking out, but good job by the pitchers.
0-1 pitch is too low for ball 1. 1-1 count for Bree Bryant. Grounded out to third base to Brooke Griever in her first at-bat to end the second inning. Now she leads off the fifth. Martin, the left-hander, steps back into the circle. Here's the pitch. 1-1 is foul at third base side as it reaches the netting, out of play. 1-2 count now for Brianna Bryant, the third base senior for Rowan. University of Albany transfer. She only started 4 of the 5 games that she played. 3 hits in the regional tournament, 2 hits in last year's Super Regional with 4 walks in all 3 games. Bree Bryant, 1-2 count from Martin. Here's the pitch. Low and outside for ball 2. Back to an even count this time at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Really important to get on base in any way, even if it is drawing that walk.
For Newport looking for their 700th win under Keith Parr as Bryant drills one foul. But Christopher Newport, 17 straight NCAA appearances, reached the College World Series 4 times and won it in 2022, only with 1 loss in the 2022 season. It's Keith Parr's 21st season, and he's looking for win 700. An incredible feat so far as Bree Bryant drills one down the third base line again. Still remains a 2-2 count.
A lot of foul balls down the third base line. Wondering if she's a little bit late on the pitch.
looks like velocity has been a factor for the Profs, as everyone's been a little late on her pitches. A lot of balls going the other way. We saw it with Kat Thomas. She had a lot of foul balls down the first base line, and she got a hit down into right field. As Bree Bryant pokes one the other way down left field line, and it's foul again.
Yeah, she's really battling up there. You can tell she really wants it, really wants to get on base in any way. Just going to be a matter of catching up with that pitch, maybe adjusting your swing a bit.
And you got to think, today is around a low 80s day, and the heat is really aggressive today, I would say, because of the humidity from the thunderstorm earlier today, this morning. And Christopher Newport's in all black, so that's definitely got to be a factor for the captains. And that's fouled behind us. Still remains a 2-2 count, but they might be hot in the all black, more likely than not, just because that's how the sun works and light works, but the bats have been on fire for them as well, so kind of going hand in hand.
Yeah, with that heat comes, it's a lot easier to hit, if you're up there at bat than it is on a colder day.
Bree Bryant right back to Jamie Martin with ease. She throws it to first in time for out number 1, but a long out number 1 as Bree Bryant went around 8 or 9 pitches in that at-bat, and the pitch count is pretty light for Martin, around 75 so far, but through 5 innings, she's still got a high pitch count, so.
Yeah, definitely. I know it's not the outcome that Bryant or the Profs would have wanted, but at the very least made her pitch a little bit more, maybe try to make her arm a little bit more fatigued, and that could give the Profs the advantage going forward.
She has thrown a lot of complete games in her career, so she's definitely not fazed by a pitch count number in the circle as Mackenzie Melvin takes first pitch for a strike. She walked in her first at-bat, but then was tagged out between second and third after being caught in a pickle. Technically no at-bats, but 1 plate appearance for Melvin so far. Got all the way to second base technically. Next pitch is a bunt dropped down by Melvin, trickling and hooking down the first base line, and it hooks foul.
Yeah, tough one for Melvin. Good placement, just bounced a little bit too far to the right side. Yeah, it's a tough one. Especially now they're going to be expecting the bunt, so kind of lose the element of surprise there.
And she loses the bunt just simply because it's now an 0-2 count as well. So if you bunt and it's foul again, and you're out. So Melvin cannot bunt now. 0-2 count. 1 out, nobody on in the top of the 5th, 6-0. Christopher Newport leads. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 4 for Jamie Martin, and strikeout number 103 on the season. Martin has been on an absolute tear against a really hot Profs team who have been dominant pitching and hitting, but it's been silent on both sides.
Yeah, this is not very common for the Profs. They're not used to being down in the game, and then to be down by this much, and seems like they're struggling to make a comeback here, so see if the top of the lineup can maybe make a difference coming up soon.
It's been an electric season for both sides. Both teams with 30-plus wins. Profs with 37. Christopher Newport with 33. Profs ranked 13th in the NCAA in D3. Captains, number 3. 5 losses for Christopher Newport, 7 for Rowan. Trying to avoid number 8. Fouls one out of play. 1-1 count for Zara McNair, the 9-hole hitter, who struck out and was the second strikeout victim for Jamie Martin. But tomorrow, more likely than not, it'll be Kate Alger in the circle, who leads the team in wins, strikeouts, and innings pitched. She was the most outstanding player of the Super Regionals last year for Christopher Newport. Zara McNair, 1-1 count up the middle, under the glove of Jamie Martin. It trickles right by her, and Zara McNair will get an infield single after it just went under the glove of Jamie Martin. And now we go back to the top of the order of Liz McCaffrey.
Yeah, really good base running. She got there pretty fast. Of course, she did have that error by Martin. But just good to get that runner on board and try to, give the Profs some confidence here that they can get a runner on base and they can try to make something happen. It's got to be good for the morale.
1 for 2 so far. She got a single on her last at-bat. Only got to first base Now she has a runner at first again. She swings through for strike one. Last time it was Melvin at first base for McCaffrey. This time it's McNair. Gets her first hit in a super regional game as a prof. Third hit of the NCAAs for Zara. McCaffrey 0-1 count, 2 outs. Pitch fouled away, 0-2.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but Martin's really been throwing a lot of those high fastballs. That's been getting the better of the profs. I mean, Lutz has been doing the same thing as well, but it's just been seeming to affect the profs a little bit more here, maybe contributing to them not being able to get as many, runners on base.
In the last game between Christopher Newport and Rowan in 2022, McCaffrey was able to get an RBI single. High fastball, but held back the swing for it to be ruled a ball. So 1 ball, 2 strikes for Liz McCaffrey. One of the better 2-strike hitters for the profs this season. Seen her get a lot of her hits in a 2-strike count this year with 54. Next pitch is high again. Being patient at the plate is McCaffrey. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes for the count. She had 3 hits in the final game of last year's Super Regional against Randolph-Macon. 2 total hits in the 3 games in this year's regionals. McCaffrey waits for Martin. Gets set in the circle. 2-2 count with 2 outs in the 5th. Here's the pitch. Off speed outside for ball 3. So count works to full after McCaffrey had an 0-2 count. A very impressive at-bat for Liz McCaffrey, Sydney.
Yeah, really good at-bat. I mean, she's got a great eye. We're seeing it right here. That off-speed pitch, really tempting, and she laid off of it perfectly.
Runner at first. Zara at first base. 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Profs looking for their first run. Here's the pitch. McCaffrey outside for ball 4. McCaffrey gets on base for a second time today. And now there are 2 runners on for Tripodi, who's trying to really create noise and the first runs for Rowan in a huge spot here in the top half of the 5th with 2 outs. Looking for anything from Tripodi.
This is a really important at-bat. You really want to get on base in any way that you can. We're getting really late in the game, and for the profs to not have any runs, kind of a tricky position to be in, so hopefully she makes something happen here.
Tripodi steps in the right-hander's batter's box against the lefty of Martin and takes 2 high for ball 1. 1-0 count for Tripodi. 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and a flyout. Looking for her first hit of the Super Regionals, and she's gotten on base in every postseason game so far. First pitch, or next pitch I should say, is outside again for a ball. 2-0 count for Tripodi. Hitter's count for the designated player who's batting second today. Kat Thomas on deck. This is the exact spot you want if you're this Rowan softball team trying to get back in this game down 6-0. Next pitch, 2-0, is inside, but it's called a strike. Tripodi in disbelief, and she now goes back into the batter's box with a 2-1 count instead of at 3-0.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough one if you're Tripodi. Not something you can really, get the barrel of the bat on, so not ideal for the profs.
She's got a hit in each regional game as well. First year with the team, but she's a senior here at Rowan. Next pitch is a soft grounder on the off-speed pitch from Martin, and it trickles towards the Christopher Newport dugout. 1-2 count now for Tripodi.
Yeah, really good off-speed pitch by Martin. You could tell Tripodi was ready for that fastball, and as a result, it just kind of ended up being a slow dribbler.
So 1-2 count instead of it being 2-2. My apologies. 1-2 count with 2 outs for Tripodi. Martin set again. 1-2. Swung on and missed. Second strikeout on the day for Tripodi. And strikeout number 5 for Jamie Martin. Profs still scoreless as we go to the bottom of the 5th. 6-0 Christopher Newport leads in Game 1 of the 2024 Super Regionals here in Glassboro. We'll be right back. Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM.
WGLS programming is made possible in part by the Rowan University Alumni Association. Delighted to serve over 100,000 Rowan Proud Profs through exciting events and programs, communications, volunteer and mentorship opportunities, and special benefits and discounts. Since its founding, the Alumni Association has worked to maintain a lasting and positive relationship between our dedicated graduates and their alma mater. Alumni are encouraged to check out the website for more information about getting involved. The website is alumni.rowan.edu. The Rowan University Alumni Association is proud to sponsor the programming on Rowan Radio.
This is Sue Schilling, your host for Everything Special Needs, Saturday at 8 a.m. on Rowan Radio. And now let's get back to the game.
Back in Glassboro, Super Regionals between the Profs and the Christopher Newport captains. My name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Cella. And now it's mercy rule situation pretty much for the Profs. 6-0. Christopher Newport leads in the bottom of the fifth. Christopher Newport is technically the home team in this first game of the Super Regionals, even though we are in Glassboro. But if they score 2 runs, this game is over, Sydney. So the Profs really have to be careful as we head towards the end of the game. First pitch is fouled away by Maherty, the catcher for Christopher Newport. In the bottom of the fifth for strike 1, she got an RBI single in her last at-bat, but she struck out in her first at-bat.
Yeah, it's a really tough spot for the Profs. You know, they're certainly not used to being in this position, and it's important to kind of hold them at 6 here.
0-1 is a high fly ball into shallow left field. Under it is Pulowski, and she makes the catch for out number 1. So Maherty goes back to the dugout after the F7. And we'll move on to the number 9 hole hitter of Kendall Bentley, the shortstop for Christopher Newport. And then after that is the coast-to-coast Rookie of the Year, Candace Slaw, who struck out in her last at-bat but is 2 for 2. Bentley, who had 2 at-bats or 2 plate appearances in the third inning, got a single, a stolen base, a run, and a sacrifice bunt and she got on base. So she's gotten on base twice today. Now she's back up in the bottom of the fifth. Next pitch is drilled into left field, and it's caught by Peyton McNair on a line, and it's a loud out number 2.
Yeah, really good for the Profs. I mean, really important to get those 2 outs at the bottom of the lineup because we know what the top of Christopher Newport lineups can do. So we'll see what she could do against Law here.
Candace Slaw steps back in, the left-handed slap hitter who plays center field. A lot of speed in the outfield. Chops one down third baseline, foul. 0-1 count for Slaw. 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth. So, see if Lutz can go down 1-2-3 for the first time today. She has not done that against Christopher Newport in this first game of the Super Regionals against Christopher Newport. Next pitch is a hot chopper over to Bree Bryan at third, but she can't make the play. It goes right under her glove, and it hits off her knee, and Peyton McNair will field it, so Slaw just stays at first. But it's another infield single again from Slaw. That's her second infield single, but she's had 3 base hits today.
Yeah, I think Slaw's speed really kind of intimidates some of the Profs and, you know, anyone just playing for that matter. You see how fast she's getting down the first baseline, and it makes you kind of rush when you're out in the field.
2 outs with Slaw over at first base. Got to be aware of her speed at first base if your rig's behind the plate. First pitch is a strike inside half for Knuckles. For the designated player, she's 0 for 1 technically today. Sacrifice bunt and a walk and a run plus a flyout. Flyout was her last at-bat in the fourth. 0-1 is over to Bree Bryan at third. And she makes the catch for out number 3. So a base hit for Slaw, but nothing threatens for the Profs as we go to the top of the 6th inning. It's 6-0. Christopher Newport leads against the Profs. We'll be right back on Rowan Radio 89.7 at WGLS FM.
WGLS FM programming is made possible in part by the GRASP Coalition, an initiative of the Southwest Council. The GRASP Coalition is dedicated to preventing the abuse of addictive substances through strategic community partnerships. The GRASP Coalition is currently looking for passionate collaborators to join their prevention efforts. Visit their website calendar to discover when you can join the next Community Coalition meeting. For more information on the GRASP Coalition or the Southwest Council, the website is southwestcouncil.org/our-coalitions. The GRASP Coalition and the Southwest Council are proud to support the programming on Rowan Radio.
Hey, this is Gary Daidolo, your host of the Icon Rock Show, Saturdays at 5 p.m. on Rowan Radio. And now let's get back to the game.
Here in Glassboro, New Jersey, my name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Chella. Top of the 6-0 Profs are down by 6 against the Christopher Newport Captains. It's been a tough road in Game 1, Sydney, and they really need the Bats to come alive as soon as possible. And Kat Thomas will try and be another leadoff batter to try and get on base. She got a leadoff single in her last at-bat in the 4th. She's going to try and do the same thing again in the 6th. But what do they have to do to try and get a different approach on Martin and try and just get a rally going, just like Christopher Newport did in the 3rd? They got all 6 of their runs in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, I really think it's important to kind of try to play small ball here. You know, the Bats have not been coming alive today. It's just not been their best hitting day. So really, lay down those bunts and just, try to draw a walk. Just get on base any way that you can. You don't need those doubles and triples right now. You just got to, kind of get out of that mercy rule situation that we talked about a little bit earlier.
1-0 count for Thomas as she took a ball outside the zone. Martin set. Here's the pitch. Just low for Kat Thomas. 2-0 count for the first baseman. Leader in home runs with 3. 354 batting average coming into this game. 43 RBIs, just behind Peyton McNair. Second on the team in RBIs, 43. McNair with 44. She's right after Thomas. Thomas fouls one away on a 2-0 pitch. Wanted to swing at the high fastball, and she just got a little piece of it. 2-1 count for Kat. She's 1 for 2. She grounded out in her first at-bat. She went 3 for 4 against MIT in the first game against MIT in the regionals. They played MIT twice, won both of those games, went undefeated in the regionals tournament. The pitch is a off-speed, fouled down the other way. Kat Thomas waited on it, but waited a little bit too long because it went the other way.
Yeah, definitely late on the ball there, but, at least she made contact because on those off-speed pitches, it's really easy to kind of wave at it, so good for her for staying alive, and seems like she's on Martin, so we'll see what she can do.
Definitely could read it off the hand that it was off-speed. It's just a matter of her getting to it and putting the barrel there. She was jammed, and she fouled it away. 2-2 to lead off the 6th inning. Here's the pitch, just below the knees for ball 3. Great eye displayed by Kat Thomas. Second team All-Region, 2024 All-Conference first team. She's won that award twice. It's her second straight year winning that. She won it last year. 47 RBIs last season with 9 long balls, only 3 this year. She had a home run in last year's Super Regional. Next pitch is swung on and missed for strikeout number 6 for Jamie Martin, and that's back-to-back strikeouts for the left-hander. Tripodi and Thomas both going down on strikes, and now in steps Peyton McNair, who's 1 for 2 as well.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see happening at this stage in the game. You just have to get on base, and strikeouts, there's absolutely no way with that. So hopefully the rest of the lineup can kind of get the ball in play and just hope for the best.
Peyton McNair steps in. Martin ready again. McNair, the leader in hits, got her 60th hit with the first at-bat double to lead off the second. She got hit number 200 against Montclair State this season, back in late April. And she was the MVP of last year's Super Regionals, going 4 for 9 and a triple away from the cycle in Game 1. Has a double so far today. Fouled away. 1-1 count for Peyton McNair, the shortstop.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot, but like you said, velocity is definitely a huge factor in this game. It just seems like the Profs haven't been able to really catch up to Martin's speed.
She made the all-regional tournament team, getting 4 hits in 3 games. Second team all-region, all-conference first team. It's outside the zone for another ball. 2-1 count for Peyton McNair. Former NJAC Player of the Year back in 2021. 2-time NJAC Rookie of the Week as well. She won NJAC Player of the Year in her rookie year. Jamie Martin, pitch, fouled away. Straight back, 2-2. So former NJAC Player of the Year going up against a National Rookie of the Year of Jamie Martin. She won that back in 2022.
If anybody can make something happen here, it's going to be Peyton McNair. You know, we've seen what she can do all season. See if she can continue that today.
5-game hit streak and continued it to 6 after that double. She has 3 multi-hit postseason games, including a career-high 3 doubles against Ramapo to win the NJAC tournament. 5-game hit streak and 5-game RBI streak. She has not gotten an RBI today. That could snap. This might be her last at-bat in today's game. But you never know. There's no time limit in baseball, so we'll see. Next pitch is popped straight up in the infield. Calling everyone off is Martin, and she makes the catch just to the left of the circle for out number 2. Peyton McNair now 1 for 3 on the day. And in steps Caitlin Riggs, who's 0 for 1 after a sacrifice bunt and a line out into right center field.
Yeah, really good pitching by Martin. Kind of got McNair right on the hands and made for a pretty quick out.
2 outs, bases empty with a 6-0 lead in the top of the 6th. Christopher Newport up 6 against your Rowan Profs. Profs looking to avoid snapping their 13-game win streak. Christopher Newport trying to extend their win streak to 19 games. And Riggs takes outside for strike 1. She got bandaged up on her left leg earlier after getting cleated at home plate after a collision between Curran and Riggs. Curran trying to score. Riggs tagged her out, but her leg got in her way of one of the cleats of Curran. She's in right field. Next pitch fouled away. 0-2 count for the right-handed catcher. On deck is Pulaski, who's also 0 for 2. Riggs was an all-regional tournament team member and first team all-region and first team all-NJAC as well. Coming off her best college game so far. That one's popped straight up right behind us towards James Hall, and it'll still remain an 0-2 count for Caitlin Riggs. Transfer from Stony Brook, only 4 appearances and 1 start at Stony Brook. Last year batted .235. This year coming in batting .298. So a really good improvement year for Caitlin Riggs, but it was Haig getting most of the starts at the catcher spot last year. The 0-2 again is in the dirt. Ball 1, 1-2 count with 2 outs and nobody on in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, Riggs is really working the count here, trying to stay alive in any way that she can.
She awaits Martin. She gets the call to the PitchCom watch that Christopher Newport has been utilizing this season and a lot of D3 softball teams. Next pitch hit the other way over to second base after it is Carolyn Pollock. She fields it cleanly, but the throw over is botched by Meredith Brickner. And Riggs and Brickner had a collision, and Riggs is holding her left wrist that's already bandaged up, and she hunched over a little bit, held onto it, but stands back up fine, and we'll see if she'll be able to run at first, but Riggs is safe at first. It was just a missed caught ball by Meredith Brickner over at first base. It was a good throw from Pollock, but just play wasn't able to be made over at first.
Yeah, very interesting play there. You know, it looked like it was going to be an easy out at first glance, and then it kind of looks like Brickner sort of ran into her trying to pick the ball back up. This is Rig's second collision of the day, so.
Yeah, first her left leg, now her left wrist.
Just like she's holding up there. Looks like she's going to run.
She does get pinch run for a few times throughout the season, so it looks like they're going to go to that now. It looks like it's going to be Allie Rhyme coming in for the freshman for Rowan, coming in to pinch run for Riggs. But I think that was going to happen no matter what. I don't think she was going to stay out to run. Rowan just has to be very aggressive with the pinch runners because you're down 6. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any run that you can get in any way is just the name of the game right now, and you need speed on the bases to do that.
So now Abby Pulowski will step in, the left fielder. Made a few plays out in left field today so far. Has been down so far, 0-2. Pop out and a looking strikeout. That looking strikeout was her last at bat. First pitch, called a strike on the outside part of the plate. 0-1 count for Abby Pulowski. Jamie Martin with another shutout so far in game 1 of this year's Super Regional. Low for ball 1 for Pulowski. Martin has had a lot of experience. Junior out of Virginia, has played in a lot of huge moments, 3 College World Series games. That was all in 2022. Pitched in College World Series last year as well. That's a strike at the knees for strike 2. 1-2 count with 2 outs and a runner at first for Pulowski. 6-0, Christopher Newport leads in the top of the 6th. Pulowski steps back in to the right-hander's batter's box. She's ready. Martin's ready. In the circle, here's the pitch. Just outside for ball 2. 2-2 count for Pulowski with 2 outs in the 6th.
Yeah, you know, one swing could really change everything. So if she can just get the ball in play, good things can happen.
Second baseman of Pollock shaded right behind second base. See what Pulowski can do. She grounds one right up the middle, over to shortstop. Bentley bobbles it, and she can't make the play. Everyone is safe.
Yeah.
So Rhyme will go to first, and Pulowski, Rhyme will go to second. Pulowski will be safe at first, and now there's 2 runners on, 1 in scoring position for the Profs, and they haven't gotten a runner in scoring position since the 2nd inning after the double from Peyton McNair. So there will be a mound visit, or a circle visit, I should say, for the captains, and we'll see what the captains do, because this isn't an ideal situation for the captains, but you have the 6-run cushion, but you never know with the Profs bats what they can do.
Yeah, this is a huge thing for the Profs. I mean, we've seen it just takes 1 inning to kind of make a big impact in this game, and we've seen them do it time and time again. And now having this rally going, it seems like the captains are a little bit shaken up. I mean, that's 2 errors and back-to-back in 1 inning, so see if the Profs can capitalize on it. They've done it in the past.
It's been 3 errors today. That was the 3rd error and 2nd error made by Christopher Newport. 1 was from Rowan. It's the 2nd from Christopher Newport. Profs with only 4 hits. And here comes Kate Evick. Steps in for Bree Bryant, going against the left-hander of Jamie Martin, who now has a big grin on her face. Not sure if it's because she's going against Evick or if it's because of what someone said in the infielder dugout. But now Evick trying to make a huge opportunity out of something in her pinch hit at bat for Bryant. Lefty against righty. Evick, first pitch from Martin is outside.
Yeah, interesting decision by Kim Wilson to kind of bring Evick in. You know, she hasn't had a ton of at-bats this year, but, you know, always a good idea to kind of bring in a new batter, try to change the momentum, the karma.
sophomore from Millsboro, Delaware. For the Profs, 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position. Pitch from Martin. Too high, ball 2. The runner in scoring position, a hitter's count for someone like Evick is definitely not a situation you want to be in because all these Profs batters can hit. They got Kim Wilson behind their back and definitely well coached in the dugout.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you never know what could happen.
2-0 at the knees for strike 1.
Yeah, very borderline, call on that one. Pretty low. She would have had to, kind of dip down to hit that one.
10th at bat so far this year, only 3 hits. Batting .333. Pitch is outside, ball 3. Evick displaying the eye. So 3-1 count with 2 outs, 2 runners on.
Yeah, I mean, a walk's as good as a hit here just to get on base. It could really start something for the Profs.
Here's the 3-1. It's fouled away over the netting on the first base side. Count is full with 2 outs with 2 runners on in the top of the 6th. Profs down 6-0, but looking for a 2-out rally in this top half of the 6th. They'll be the home team tomorrow for Game 2 and, if need be, for Game 3.
This is a really important at-bat. You need to protect, but you also don't want to chase.
3-2. Swung on and missed for strikeout number 7 for Jamie Martin. And the Christopher Newport captains still lead 6-0 as we head to the bottom of the 6th. We'll be right back here on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM.
WGLS programming is made possible in part by Barnes & Noble, the official bookstore for Rowan University. Located at 201 Rowan Boulevard, Barnes & Noble is your #1 choice for Profs gear, as well as a wide assortment of gifts, accessories, and sportswear. The bookstore is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday from 10 to 6, and Sunday, 10 until 6 p.m. The Starbucks Cafe opens 8 a.m. Monday through Friday and at 10 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. For more information, their website is rowanbookstore.bncollege.com. The Barnes & Noble Bookstore is proud to be a supporter of Rowan Radio, 89.7 WGLS FM.
I'm Allie Bruce from the Rowan Report. Tune in on Saturday mornings at 9:30 on Rowan Radio. And now, back to the game.
D3 softball super regionals between the Rowan Profs and the Christopher Newport captains. My name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Chella. And Sydney, it's still a 6-0 game. In the bottom of the 6th, Christopher Newport looking to slam the door in the next half innings, where it's the bottom of the 6th and then the top half of the 7th. And the Profs are the visiting team, so the Profs will bat in the top half of the 7th. So we'll see what the captains can do, if they can walk it off with a mercy rule or if they can slam the door in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, this has been a really rough game for the Profs. The bats just didn't come alive, and Riley Lutz kind of got shook up out there on the mound a little bit. So, we'll see what they can do. Hopefully not get mercy ruled here and get a couple runs in the next inning.
In steps Brooke Griever. Leadoff batter for Christopher Newport in this bottom of the 6th. She's the 3-hole batter over at third base. She had a 2-run double that started the scoring. She also scored a run after an RBI double from Katie Curran, who's on deck. Next pitch from Riley Lutz off speed. Too low for ball 3. Griever walked in her last at-bat, and it's looking towards the same again. Deja vu in the 6th. 3-0 is a strike. Griever grins over at her third base coach of Keith Parr, who is the head coach for Christopher Newport. She steps back into the left-hander's batter's box. The 3-1 pitch from Lutz. Outside, dropped for a ball. So another walk for Griever, this time in the leadoff spot in the 6th. Leadoff base runner again for Christopher Newport.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Lutz, kind of tried to pitch around her a little bit, especially since Griever's had such a great game with 2 RBIs and, now 3 at-bats. So wondering if that was a decision or if she's just, maybe getting a little bit wild here towards the end of the game.
Christopher Newport will take the first pitch for a strike. Or excuse me, first pitch for a ball. It's their first leadoff base runner since that 6-run third inning for Christopher Newport. That's where they've scored all their runs. Just below the knees for ball 2. Hitters count again for Curran. And he's got to figure, I mean, the middle of the order is probably the scariest for Christopher Newport, and Lutz knows that, and she's been pitching around them the entire game so far, but has given up 3 hits to number 3 and 4 in this lineup. After it, on the third base side is Riggs. Calling everyone off is Bree Bryant, and she makes the catch for out number 1. So Katie Curran in a 2-0 count swung at the high fastball and gets an out into foul ground. And now in steps Jules Donnelly.
Yeah, really important out. You know, Curran's definitely been a threat throughout this entire game, and to get that nice quick out definitely has to give Lutz a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, the senior's been a threat the entire year, the prior seasons as well.
Left fielder Jules Donnelly.
Looks like there's a lineup change, but Griever's still at first. Donnelly's still up to bat. Pollock's on deck. I don't see any lineup change, but Keith Parr and the home plate umpire did meet up. Not sure why, but everything remains the same. Donnelly takes outside for a ball. She's 1 for 2 with a walk, a run scored, and a single and a pop out. She got that single in the 4th in her last at-bat. There's a runner on. It's the pitch from Lutz. Foul tipped off the glove of Riggs. So be now an even count, 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out. Lutz really looking for a double play. Profs are they are in the top mix in the NCAA's in double plays, so we'll see if they can try and convert one here with Donnelly at the plate. Next pitch in the dirt. 2-1 count for Jules Donnelly.
A double play would definitely be ideal here. Kind of get out of that inning nice and quick.
2-1 with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Swung on a miss. Another dropped ball from Caitlin Riggs. But the count extends 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out. Riley Lutz in a prime strikeout position here. Only has 2 strikeouts today. Looking for her 3rd against Donnelly. Next pitch is drilled over the head of McCaffrey, and it's into center field for a base hit. Rounding second is Griever over to 3rd. Then the tag at 2nd will get her out. So Donnelly's out at 2nd after both runners of Donnelly and Griever were very aggressive. So Griever is at 3rd, but nobody is at 2nd after a single from Jules Donnelly.
Yeah, really good play out there in the outfield. I mean, to have the heads up to kind of get it to 2nd with a really good throw. Huge out, especially when that mercy rule is in effect. You know, every out matters and every run matters, so really heads up play there.
The 2nd single for Donnelly. Tag is made from McCaffrey on that out at 2nd base. So Griever over at 3rd. Good decision from the outfielders to just throw it in to 2nd base instead of trying to get Griever out at 3rd. It's the more sure out. Carolyn Pollock in a 1-1 count with 2 outs and a runner at 3rd. Lutz is set in the circle. Here's the pitch. Inside. Strike 2. 1 more out to keep it 6-0. To try and make a miraculous comeback in the 7th. Here's Lutz. Too high, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th, 6-0 game. Christopher Newport leads by 6. Lutz looking to shut the door, keep it 6-0. Here's the pitch, fouled away. First base side, off the Rowan dugout. Still remains a 2-2 count.
Yeah, it'd be really great for Lutz to get the strikeout right here. Kind of shut down Christopher Newport. You don't really want them to get any runs, especially when it would take a lot to come back even now. with the score being, 0-6.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Pitch again from Lutz. Popped up, shallow outfield. After it is Melvin, straightaway center field. She makes the catch. Just has to go a few feet in front of her to make out number 3. But the Profs have a lot of ground to make up. It's still 6-0, and they have 3 more outs to go to try and see if they can win Game 1 of the 2024 D3 Softball Super Regionals. We'll be right back on Rowan Radio 89.7 and WGLS FM.
Coverage of Prof Sports on Rowan Radio is made possible in part by the Brown and Gold Gridiron Club. The Gridiron Club is composed of former participants and supporters of the RUGSC football program, whose goal is to bridge Rowan's athletes past, present, and future. If you would like to support the club, participate in Gridiron events, or would like more information, the email address is gridironclub@rowan.edu. The Brown and Gold Gridiron Club is proud to support Prof Sports on Rowan Radio.
Hey, this is Gavin Trutzenbach from Gavin's Rock Lab. Monday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. here on Rowan Radio. And now, let's get back to the game.
8-9-1 due up for the Profs in the final 3 outs for the Rowan Bats as they're down 6-0 against Christopher Newport in the D3 Softball Super Regionals of Game 1. My name's Jack Miller. With me is Sydney Chella. This was technically the top of the order not too long ago, Sydney, so this shouldn't be much of a problem for Rowan, but, 6 runs is a lot of ground to make up. But Christopher Newport was able to score 6 runs in 1 inning. We'll see if the Profs are able to score 6 or more or less in the top half of the 7th.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be, Melvin, McNair, McCaffrey. That's some of the best players that Rowan has on the field this season. So see if they can just string some hits together, and hopefully once you get 1 run, it's a lot easier to get 2, 3, and 4. So we'll see what they can do.
Melvin 0 for 1 today with a walk and a strikeout. Melvin drills one the other way into right field for a base hit. That's how you start a 7th inning to get a 6-run rally. And Melvin with her first base knock of this year's Super Regionals. And now in steps Zara McNair, who got a single in her last at-bat. So Melvin will pass the baton to McNair to try and see if they can get a similar result out of her last at-bat.
Yeah, beautiful hit to start the inning, and if nothing else, it gives Rowan a little bit of, hope and optimism that they can come back from this deficit that they're in now.
First pitch, Sarah McNair the other way down the left field line, and it hooks foul. 0-1 count for Zara McNair. Struck out in her first at-bat and got all the way to second base after a 2-out single in the 5th. And now she's up in the 7th. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Zara, and she drills one the other way. A liner over to Bentley at first. Back to first base is in time. Christopher Newport with a crucial double play after giving up a leadoff base runner to Mackenzie Melvin. And they get both outs in 1 swing. And now there's 2 outs with Liz McCaffrey trying to keep this first game of the Super Regionals alive.
Yeah, that's a really tough play for the Profs. You kind of saw maybe we can get something happening with that hit by Melvin and just kind of shut the door on it. Really good heads-up play, but nothing the Profs could do there.
First pitch to McCaffrey is too high. It was a similar play to how the Super Regionals ended for the Profs last year. It was a liner over to third to Bree Bryant, and she threw back to first to Kat Thomas to get the double play. And similar result for Christopher Newport. Profs getting a taste of their own medicine a year later. 1-0 to McCaffrey's outside. 2-0 count for Liz. So far, she's 1 for 2 with a walk and a single. That was her last 2 at-bats. Her first at-bat was a pop-out into foul ground over to Meredith Brickner, the first baseman. McCaffrey swings through for strike 1. 2 outs in the 7th. Christopher Newport trying to extend their win streak to 19. Profs looking to keep their win streak of 13 games alive. They haven't lost since the middle of April against TCNJ. McCaffrey, a 2-1 count to Jamie Martin. Left-hander looking for her 13th win, and McCaffrey fouls it off into the backstop netting. 2-2 count. Profs down to their final strike.
Yeah, it's got to be hard if you're up there for McCaffrey. You know, the odds are kind of stacked against you. Hard to stay motivated and optimistic about what could happen, especially with 2 outs here in this last inning.
Looking for her first super regional win since 2022. Jamie Martin, the left-hander, the pitch with 2 strikes is too high for ball 3 as the wind starts to pick up behind us towards the right field pole. Might help Liz McCaffrey. She can hit one the other way. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Profs down to their final strike in game 1 of the Super Regionals in 2024. Jamie Martin, the pitch to Liz is popped straight up. Under it is Meredith Brickner in foul ground. She calls off the pitcher, and she makes the catch. And that is out number 3. Christopher Newport takes game 1 with a huge 6-run 3rd inning. And they win 6-0. And they have game 2 and potentially game 3 tomorrow, Sydney. But the Profs bats have to get alive, and the pitching can't collapse in 1 inning, and the bats really have to get going at some point. 5 hits and no runs isn't going to cut it. You got to score to win games.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, really what hurts about this one is by how much they lost. You know, you can come back tomorrow with a clear mind, but you're always going to have that in the back of your head, like, we got shut out, you know. That just, it's tough pill to swallow for the Profs, especially since they're not used to being in this position. So, yeah, they just couldn't get the bats going, and can't even blame Riley Lutz too much because she really didn't have any offense to back her up there.
Yeah, you're right. As Riley Lutz had a really solid game for Rowan, just besides the 3rd inning. She went 5 2/3, had 112 pitches thrown, giving up 9 hits, 5 earned, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. And Jamie Martin will probably be the player of this game for game 1. A complete game shutout against the Rowan Profs. 7 complete innings, only 5 hits given up, 2 walks on 7 strikeouts. A really good day for Christopher Newport's pitching staff, and they don't have a really good matchup tomorrow. For game 2, more likely than not, it'll be the team leader in wins and strikeouts, the junior, Kate Alger. I mean, they have a 2-headed monster just like Rowan does. It's just that Rowan has to find a way to capitalize against Alger. And McCutcheon, she's been really good this year. She's had 19 wins, .97 ERA, so it should be a really good matchup tomorrow as well. Game 2 will, I believe, at 1 o'clock tomorrow for Friday afternoon softball. But what do you expect from this game tomorrow for game 2? Rowan really just has to get back into it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really heavy emphasis on the pitching. Like you said, Alger's going to come in probably tomorrow. We can expect to see her out there. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Profs decide to do as far as pitching, because Lutz has obviously been the starter. She's pitched a lot for the Profs this season. But we do know that McCutcheon can do a lot on the mound. She had that 20-inning game, so we know she can go pretty far. So it's going to be a lot of great pitching, and hopefully the Profs can bring their bats to life.
We're going to send things back to Tom Hill in the Glassboro studios, and I know he's going to have a fantastic post-game show for you guys. For Sydney Chella, I'm Jack Miller. Thank you guys for tuning into Game 1 of the D3 Softball Super Regionals. Game 2 will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock, so stay tuned tomorrow for that. But we're going to send things to Tom Hill for the post-game show. Have a great rest of your Thursday night.